Do not adjust your radio dial. You are tuned in to the Mark Order Podcast. Join the Mark Order.
Do that, by the way, because I never know how loud it's going to be with the music. Wednesday night, you know what that means. It's time for Dodgers baseball. No, it's here. Mark Order Podcast here on the Shining Wizards Network. I know, Kate. I know. It was a rough...
Immediately with the Vin Scully feel. It's very well.
Listen, you gotta get it in early, and then you're done with it, and then we don't have to worry about it. It was a rough Tuesday after the highs and lows of free agency signing day, or not free trade deadline. Excuse me, free agency signing day, trade deadline. And to get hit with the Vin Scully news. Well, it is the Mark Order Podcast here on the Shining Wizards Network, episode 71. 71.
Or as I'm going to start calling it, 69.3.
Well, I'll take it. I do know we're here with fancy Kate the Great and New Metal Rye Guy on a Wednesday night.
It's so nice to be joined by AntMoney and mid-2000s Eminem. It really is.
Yeah, I mean, it's a new... Well, it's maybe not a new look for Ryan, but... because sometimes he does twist and turn his hat around during the show.
I told you, it's a.
It usually makes a 360. I feel like it eventually ends up back to the front, but it takes many pit stops in between. I am not drinking vodka out of a wine glass from Humphrey. I'm drinking water out of a wine glass, which is a focal point of conversation.
Yeah,
evidently.
I'm gonna try it, Kate. She's trying to, she's waiting for Jesus to come and turn it into wine.
Hey!
You guys know that was a big hit before we actually came on the air, and then I said, fuck, I should have saved it.
It really was.
Didn't.
It was so natural before.
I know. I told you I'm not going to do it, and then I was like, I got to do it. Kate's calling it.
It's right there.
I know.
And it was brought up in the comment section. No, because I'm precious. I wasn't doing it just then, but I like holding it from the stem because then my hand doesn't get all condensation-y and cold.
Oh my god.
Condensation.
Yes, and cold from ice water.
Put a lot of ice cubes in my ice water, man. Leave me alone.
Oh my god. I didn't know your hands get so cold from holding a cold drink.
If the option is to hold it by his stem or to hold it by the glass, why not get fancy? This is episode 69.3. Kinda. We get fancy over here at the Mark Order.
I mean, you should have been drinking your water out of a wine glass at episode 69, setting the mood.
I might have been, for all I know. It's my go-to move.
Instead, we had the captain, who was great at the start, and then really slowly started to creep us out as the night moved on.
It's true.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
You meet a gentleman like the captain in person. By the end of the night, you're creeped out. Like, let's be fair here.
Let me tell you something, Ryan. There's no situation where I'm willingly meeting a person like the captain. I'd probably be cornered, and I'd make every effort to leave. But
if you couldn't, he might start out okay, normal, and then by the end of the night, you're leaving with Gina going like, Jesus Christ, that was the creepiest man I ever met in my life.
I'd probably ask what the deal. Like, I'd probably ask the captain, like, "Hey, man, what's your deal? Do you actually have a boat?" And then at the end of the night, like you said, I'd be like, "Gina, what the fuck was his deal?"
FMK for you guys.
Oh God.
The captain, cruise director Mike, Peter Avalon.
Oh well, come on, this is an easy one. We all know we're gonna fuck Peter Avalon, and I think I speak for the whole group. We're gonna fuck Peter Avalon. We're going to kill the captain. And we're going to marry cruise director Mike because we love living on a houseboat and getting free food from the cruise,
Oh, yeah!
cruise, whatever, restaurant. I don't know. Buffet.
Sure. You wouldn't F the captain? He seems experienced and like a tender lover.
The captain seems like the continental of the sea.
I mean, that was Peter Avalon's gimmick there for a second.
The continental?
There was like a 2-week period where he was doing promos like that with like the
that's
hand,
right. Yeah,
remember?
I forgot about that. Yeah.
He's so great. I love I know it's a running gag that I want to fuck Peter Avalon, but sincerely, like he's so much fun. And that BTE music video that he put out this week about being the hottest boy in AEW. I was like, yeah, I know. I've been saying it here's what I know. I've been saying that Ricky Starks is the breakout star of the year for months. Mm-hmm. And I've been singing the titillating praises of Peter Avalon for a very long time. People need to get on board with me.
I mean, since we've started.
Way. Yeah, since we started, you're right. It's been a long time going.
It's one of the longer running gags. It's not really a gag.
It's not at all a gag.
No.
Given fuck, marry, kill.
Yeah.
Peter Avalon, Eddie Kingston, and someone else. I'm probably marrying Eddie Kingston. I'm probably gonna fuck Peter Avalon, and then whoever the poor third schmuck is.
Well, what if Eddie Kingston is covered in blood walking with a gasoline can?
I still marry that guy because that guy is like, he's gonna fucking protect you. That guy.
Or set you on fire. One of the two.
No, he's gonna set other people on fire because I'm in his corner. It's like his Ruby. Well,
I guess. He might set his friends on fire, but not Kate. Not Kate.
Maybe Bryan Danielson. Definitely Chris Jericho.
Mm-hmm. And Sammy, but we'll talk about that.
That was fun.
We will talk about that. So guys, how's everything been? Let's start off with the Rye Guy. What's good, Rye Guy?
Not a whole lot. Just living that life.
Okay. Did you venture out of your house this past week?
And we learn what happens when I venture out of my house. I get COVID.
Well, work on your immune system because this was pitched to me tonight, okay? The Fozzy Save the World tour is coming to Philly. According to Mrs. Money, the meet and greet is very manageable. I think there's a possibility for the entire Mark Order to do a meet and greet and see a Fozzy show in October in Philadelphia.
Oh, yeah!
Just throwing it out there. Just throwing it out there, Schlong.
But what will I get that time?
Monkeypox.
Oh, no.
No, that's from other activities. What will I get from going out of the house?
The captain definitely has monkeypox.
Yes, he does.
The captain's the reason it got around.
Yeah, he started it with a monkey.
He's spreading it across the 7 seas. Yeah, Ryan, I don't know. You just gotta let life, let life happen, brother. You just gotta get out there and sow your wild oats.
Then I got a deadly disease.
It's not deadly. You're still alive.
It's true.
And now you've got the super antibodies.
Maybe. The super antibodies?
Hey!
No, I didn't say that.
My God, by the way, your background today, Ryan. What a poll.
It is a great poll, and it's to me.
How did you think of this one? Because the dumpster match?
Yes, and actually Asian Joe even said in Discord, so I don't want to take all credit away. I was thinking it, but he pulled through. But then the dumpster match was going against what this week? The rebookings of Triple H.
It's true, and holy shit, my life just got so much easier in one episode. Oh my God, everything made so much more sense on Monday. This, however, is not a tag team, though. I feel like you've betrayed your own formula.
I've been off that formula for a while now, Kate.
That's
true.
Why wouldn't you try to find something with Chainsaw Charlie and didn't Chainsaw Charlie and what's his face have a dumpster match?
Yes, but because the dumpster of the dumpster in AEW, not of AEW, the dumpster in AEW went against Triple H and his booking. Logic.
That's well played. That's well played.
Okay.
Because there ain't no way we're getting a women's match before 9:30 if Triple H doesn't do what he did Monday, so I'll take it.
I couldn't even tell you. I'm out of the loop on that. So I have no idea.
Just no competition is driving competition in the right direction.
Well,
he made the women's division very talked about again, and that I'm sure that got back. And every conversation about the WWE women's division, literally almost I think every one of them went to how bad AEW's been booked.
Yeah. It was very much your move, Tony Khan, and he responded today. But we'll get into all that. And how are you doing
well, hold on. You guys aren't giving us enough credit. We've been talking about this forever. Why can't it be us?
That's a very good point. They obviously
I don't have that kind of self-confidence.
Come on, it's us. Remember last week there was the sign in the crowd, he's a jungle man? That's us.
That was us. Nobody else
True, it is
said
2
that.
weeks in a row with people responding to us.
Singular thinking. It's us. Nobody else has that thought.
We hype up Peter Avalon, then you have Hot Boys.
It's true.
EW.
Yeah.
Ooh, come on. Shush your lips. Do the hop with some and let's touch tips.
Then the way they blew off Leva Bates. Incredible.
Not gonna lie, I haven't seen it. I have to go back and look at it.
It's part of BTE, but they also put it out as its own thing, so you can find just the music video. It's fucking hilarious.
I saw it. Kate, don't be upset. I've had late nights this week. I'm gonna have an early morning tomorrow after a late night tonight. Another late night tomorrow.
Anything that we have learned from this past week, it's that you need to be taking wrestling podcasting extremely seriously, as it is an extremely serious thing.
I mean, I'm very serious about what we do here.
Yeah, you should be. And you should be watching important wrestling history pieces like Peter Avalon's Hottest Boy in AEW.
I'll definitely check it out.
Yeah, you will check it out.
I just said I will.
Yeah, I know.
God.
I'm just saying.
Ryan, why am I getting I'm getting the dude, man.
I'm going to come in as somebody's heavy and just beat the shit out of you if you don't watch it. I'll be Peter Avalon's heavy.
Ryan, I don't know if that really was water in that glass.
Seriously.
It really was.
She's drinking angry juice. All right, so Ryan had another week. Ryan had another week inside. So all is normal with Ryan. And Kate, how are you? You've been doing a ton of podcasts, you said.
I am very tired, but I am good.
Good.
Yeah. I don't think we ever need to do anything like Ric Flair's last match ever again. Of everything I've covered, that was by far the weirdest experience I've ever had as a wrestling fan, because it felt very much like we were going to watch Ric Flair die in the ring. It was awful. That was the low light of my weekend, but it was, I got paid to talk about wrestling, so I'll never complain. But dear God, just no to anything like that ever again. But I'm good. I'm moving and shaking. I'm making some moves over here on my end.
Okay.
Things
You're
are
still
good.
in your apartment.
She's making.
I am still in my apartment. My walls haven't leaked in a while, so that's exciting because we have had rain. But things are all right over here. I am very much looking forward to going to the beach tomorrow and hopefully not burning my ass again.
Well,
you know she's burning her ass.
Definitely gonna burn your ass. Yeah, you just did it.
I'm an ass girl.
She loves to burn them, apparently.
I love to burn them. I don't love to burn them. It hurts to sit down. But I'm going to be back at the beach, not talking to anybody, not watching a minute of wrestling tomorrow. Impact can suck my dick. Not happening.
I have bigger questions about that one.
Okay, I don't have a dick, but like my metaphorical one.
Okay.
There's just a lot of gold in a lot of the audio she was just dropping, so that's why I was very quiet. So that at some point when we get the ability to cut up audio,
oh no.
And by ability I just mean find the time to cut up audio.
Yeah, we have the ability. It's just
I'd say most weeks that I would fuck Peter Avalon, and nobody's really.
Yeah, but I just want the suck my dick clip.
Oh, please. We need that clipped. We need to go back to
It hurts to sit down.
It hurts to sit down is a good
Because out
one.
of context, that's a very good one.
That is a really good one. I need a good Matt. Fuck your hand, because that was a really fun era of Matt-isms.
Yeah, boy, I miss Matt-isms.
They were a good time.
Can't wait for the summer to be over and we get Maddie back.
I know.
I mean, I love you guys, but it's a totally different vibe.
It's Matt.
Man.
It's Matt. It's only adding to the experience, and we just need another road trip of him losing his fucking mind in a hotel room, asking us if we have dreams.
Do you dream?
Do you guys have dreams? We've been trying to go to bed for 45 minutes.
Yeah, I've been trying to sleep, Matt, for like an hour.
I really question, the more I've thought about that, the more it actually concerns me about Matt. I don't think he has dreams. And I think that's unhealthy.
I don't know. He sleep jacks. He's got to be having some sort of dream over there. Anyway, how was your week?
Valid.
Yeah, I was gonna make the same point, and then you beat me to it. If he's sleep jacking, he's dreaming of something.
He's dreaming. Probably a Vita Von star.
Yeah. Well, you never know.
Can't blame him.
No, can't blame him. Let's see. Well, I missed 2 opportunities this past week to see some MBW footage, so I'm still waiting.
I got the one, I missed the other.
It's good shit. It's really good shit.
Well,
it was like annoyingly good. I wanted it to be worse than it was.
Yeah, I mean, I saw a little bit of it, but I was busy, so we jumped in and then jumped right back out, and then Sunday I wasn't around. So both instances I was at live concerts. So
some great promo work from ours truly, I should say, and Matt Bowman. What a fucking giant of the industry.
But
Matt Bowman
really?
Wait a minute, hold on. Matt Bowman wasn't a performer in MBW.
Oh no, he was. His name was referenced at some point.
He couldn't even keep the kayfabe going.
They broke his CD player and he was not amused.
Oh, I'm sure it wasn't.
But really, if you want the best performer, there was a Scamboni, I think.
Well, I know there was a JT
Maniac.
There was also the Maniac.
Mm-hmm. Yes, but I believe it was the Scamboni that came out, Kate, right? And danced and had some fun.
There was some dancing. That unparalleled moves. Unparalleled. Phenomenal stuff.
Well, I can't wait till I actually get the chance to sit down with Matt Bowman and our new tape collection as we're entering the final stages of the sale of the Shining Wizards Network, which does include MBW. Listen, guys, I'm not gonna lie here. The news did hit the trade wires. They're saying Warner Brothers Discovery, the number 2 entertainment giant in the industry. Number 1 is the Mark Order Network.
There it is.
We're there.
That's it.
So yeah, let's see. Friday I went to a concert in Brooklyn. Me and Mrs. Money went
till you got there.
I didn't. There's no sleep till Brooklyn. Thanks, Ryan. Let's see. What was that? That was 18 Visions. And I never got to see them back in their heyday because they
were 17 Visions.
Oh my god.
Let's get to the commercial block as soon as we can. And
my god.
I'm not even, I'm just no selling. I know we have a network. I'm fully aware of it today. We're just we're moving.
We're going to do it. All right.
Done.
Well, so we did 18 Visions on Friday night because they played an album that I wanted to see them play, from their pre sort of glam days. So that was a lot of fun. And then Sunday, we went to see Rob Zombie. It was Rob Zombie with support from Powerman 5000, Static X, and Mudvayne.
Was it at Starland?
It was not at Starland. It was at PNC Bank Arts Center.
I did not know Powerman 5000 or Static X played at anywhere other than Starland because they were always who my friends in college were opening up for.
Well, yeah. But I mean, Static X can definitely play bigger buildings. Power Man 5000, this is a nepotism gig. But it was a family trip for us. We took Baby Money to his very first concert to see Rob Zombie because he said Rob Zombie's one of his favorites. Although when we told him we're going to go see a concert, who would you want to see? He was dead set it was Metallica. And we were like, sorry, pal, it is not Metallica, but Rob Zombie's fun. So we did the tailgate, and he posted up like, I've never seen a post up before. He was eating his turkey sub and had his leg up on the chair, and he was just enjoying life. At one point, he took his shirt off in the parking lot, so he was really all in. And then we made our way in, and what was fun is the security guard said, "Oh, is this for a show?" And we said, "Yes." And they said, "Go to the guest services. They'll give him something." And they gave him a certificate that had like the tour logo and whatnot on it. It said, this certifies, they read his name in there. And then they said that, first concert, Rob Zombie and Mudvayne, with the date and stuff like that. So that was fun. And they gave him a little rubber duck.
I love that.
So that was cute. He got a lot of high fives. He got a lot of fist bumps. And at PNC, they don't sell like bottled water anymore. They sell the liquid death in the can, which he thought was cool because there's a skull on it.
Yeah, of course. It is cool because there's a skull on it. He's right.
He was getting a lot of cheers from people clinking his cans together. So he had a blast. And, we were prepared for a lot of foul language.
Of course.
He had his headphones on, but a lot of it sort of went over his head. My favorite thing, though, is at one point, I think it was during Mudvayne, they said, "Are you ready for Rob fucking Zombie?" And he laughed, and we were like, "What's up, pal?" He said Rob Fuzzy Zombie. And we said, "Yes, Fuzzy Zombie. Yes."
He's so fuzzy.
He was very fuzzy. And
how fuzzy was he?
I don't even have an answer.
Just trying to get to that commercial break. Begging me to get to the commercial break today.
So he made it through everybody. He really liked Mudvayne, which was interesting because I think at first they scared him a little bit. We had no idea that they were back in the face paint thing.
Oh, okay.
So he was a little scared at first, but then he settled in and saw that they were pretty cool. And then Rob Zombie, was coming up. So they're doing the stage and whatnot. And Rob Zombie came out and he was just like, his eyes were as big as saucers. And so we knew it was going to be fun. But I will say this. I have not kept up with Rob Zombie in recent years. I was not aware of some of his new songs. So when they decided to play a new song called Shake Your Ass, Smoke Your Grass, we were not prepared for the video package that went along with it. And it was like cartoons, not like realistic cartoons, but it was women shaking their asses in men's crotches or like cartoony guys' crotches. And then at some point there were naked devil like dudes and with their dicks hanging out and people grabbing them, like unfurling them like a hose. And I was just like, "Oh, buddy," like, giving him a hug, and he's trying to shove me away because he wants to see what's going on. And then there were a ton of topless, cartoon ladies. At one point, there was a fully naked cartoon devil lady who popped a baby out of her cartoon vagina. And that was another point where I decided to give him a hug and just be like, we need a little break here.
What a wonderful experience we're all having. Yeah.
And so the last thing I'll say about Shake Your Ass, Smoke Your Grass, there was a point in the video at the end that he started laughing. And there were, again, cartoony ladies with their asses like bouncing around the screens on like people's heads. And he thought it was hilarious. And I said, "What's so funny?" And he said, "Butts." So I said, okay.
You know what? That's a good point. That's a very fair argument on his point.
So, that was good. We got past that, and then it was back to business. He really enjoyed at one point a giant, like, devil guy, like a person wearing like a giant devil suit or whatever came out. A little freaked out, but then I pointed out the fact he had a giant mustache and a tiny little goatee. He thought that was hilarious, and also he was sort of dancing around. That was funny.
Kind of sounds like Satan from South Park.
Yeah, there was also a the robot, from like the Dragula video came out. He thought that was fun. There was another new song we were not aware about called "Fucking in a UFO." I don't know if you understand what that's about, but it's a subtle song about fucking inside of a UFO.
Interesting. I didn't get that.
I was taking a guess. I was making a fucking wild guess.
It's a subtle title, but that's what it was about. And then the visuals for that were live action, and they had like aliens, like B movie looking aliens, the big heads and the big eyes, and they were like, harassing some librarian looking lady. And then all of a sudden they
librarian.
They sort of like pan back, and these aliens have giant dicks. And again, we just were like, what do we do about this? So, he was sort of paying attention. He was starting to get tired, but a guy in a giant alien costume came out, but it was like a fuzzy alien with like a tiny, like, astronaut helmet on his head with giant muscles. He thought that was hilarious. So everything else was completely missed, thank God. And then the last point that we got a little nervous was we knew about his song House of a Thousand Corpses, clearly from the film. What I didn't think about was the fact they were going to be showing parts of the movie. And of course, all the goriest parts you could show, like, Dwight from The Office's head, peeled apart with his brain exposed, and they're cutting people's faces. And I was just like, oh, Guy, we're having fun. Like, I'm trying to hug him, but he just wants to see what's happening. So again, it sort of went over his head. And eventually he got to the closer, which was Dragula, and he was tired at that point, but he made it through the whole show awake. And then even after the show, he sat in the parking lot in the trunk, and we were waiting for traffic, and he was eating chips and drinking juice.
God, just living his best life.
Great life.
So, and in the chat, Mrs. Money put out that it's the thing that they're playing in the background was actually the music video for Fucking in the UFO. Mm-hmm. So I quickly Googled. You were not exaggerating.
No, why would I exaggerate?
I'm not saying like I thought you would, but like, my God, it's still shocking that this is like a music video.
Listen, I'm no prude, but like seeing a cartoon devil lady pop a baby out of her vagina standing up is a jarring image, I'm sure, for any 5-year-old to see.
It's all jarring
for me. And I found the other one too.
But I'll say this. The next day I was sort of prodding him. I was like, what was your favorite part? What do you remember? Do you remember the cartoon? He's like, it was so funny. And then he was talking about something that was like not doing with butts or boobs or anything like that. So it went over his head. I think he was so tired. He just was powering through it, and none of it stuck. But
I mean, in his defense, butts are very funny.
Butts are hilarious.
Yeah.
Especially when they're bouncing off people's heads.
Yeah, that's hysterical.
But yeah,
a man of taste, and I appreciate about that.
It's funny. After the fact, I said to Mrs. Money, I said, the son of a bitch, the safer move would have been Metallica, because they're
that's actually a very good point.
They're very PG now. And you're definitely not getting the tits and ass of a Rob Zombie show.
That's correct.
But it was a lot of fun. He had a good experience. Schlong just watched the video. So
I quickly went through both of them.
Mm-hmm.
I actually, for Fucking in a UFO, pretty dead on. I actually don't think you did ass and grass justice on how bad that video is.
Yeah, I mean, I can't pull it up here to watch, but the three of us, can talk about it after the fact. But yeah, those things aside, it was a fun show. He had a lot of fun. And and he's very nonchalant about it. Like his Graham and Pop asked about it, and he was just like, "Yeah, I went to Rob Zombie. Like, so what? It's just
Big
another
deal.
show."
Turns out I'm a fucking badass. You guys didn't know that already? Because I did.
Yeah, he also had to have his hair mohawked. He was like, "I got to do my hair," and then he had to put on temporary tattoos to fit in. So he had on like his Ninja Turtle tattoos all over.
How's it feel to be the dad of the fucking coolest kid in the world?
It's pretty cool. He's pretty cool.
How does it feel to know he's already cooler than you?
Yeah, that's a tough one. That's a tough one, especially because I came in the house tonight. I ran out to pick up dinner, and I came in right after the start of Dynamite, and he's like, "Dad, do you know how Orange Cassidy gives fist bumps?" And he did the exact thing, and I'm like, "Damn, dude, you're into cool wrestling at such a young age. It's not even funny."
Yeah, he is.
You're into like cool mainstream wrestling, because I know, like, okay, New Japan, and there's all this other cool stuff.
No,
like,
he's not arrogant. He's not like a smarky son of
he'll
a bitch.
get there. He'll get there.
We'll smarken him up.
But yeah, so that was Rob Zombie, and yeah, so we'll never take him to Rob Zombie again.
Not until he's 20.
No, that's it. So so that was the weekend, and now I've just been powering through the week, and I'm here with you two. So why don't we talk a little bit of wrestling and then take a little break, and we'll reset and we'll talk about Dynamite.
Sure.
But we had Fight for the Fallen Rampage on Friday night.
We did.
So I didn't see it happen live. I was out, but I did catch it after the fact. We had Orange Cassidy and the Best Friends defeating Jay Lethal, Satnam Singh, and Sanjay Dutt. There were some really fun moments during that. And I don't know about you guys, but Sanjay Dutt just continuing to show what a great guy he is for this company.
So good. I'm sure we'll talk about the promotions and news and notes, but he's been fantastic. And it's really fun to see. I think I've said it before, but like we just have gotten such a wider breadth of types of managers on the show. And I really, really love what Sanjay has done. And he's the only part of this entire faction that I actually care about, to be totally honest. Jay Lethal's great between the ropes. I find him to be kind of a medium promo, and Satnam Singh just isn't there yet because he's super new at this. So Sanjay's like the perfect guy to make me care about them. But the biggest thing in this match, and I'll let you speak to it because it was such a shocking moment, was his pencil just got snapped in two. Yeah.
The violence that ensued during that segment, him giving the Orange Cassidy kicks to Orange Cassidy, and then Cassidy snapping the pencil. Oh man.
I'm glad that both of them are okay, to be honest.
I have not seen anything like that in wrestling for a very long time. So it looks like they're both okay. They both appeared tonight on Dynamite, so we will talk about these guys again. But I thought
it was a shoot. I thought they went into business for themselves. It was so violent between the kicks and the pencil snap. It was just very severe and
it was
extremely serious. Yeah.
It took me a couple days to recover. I'm not going to lie. But a very fun match. We also had some attacks after the match that sort of set up for the match tonight, right? And Wardlow came out to make the save. So we'll talk about these guys again as we get into Dynamite. Ethan Page defeated Leon Ruffin, pretty much squashed him. And Stoke was watching in the back. What I find interesting here, Kate and Rye Guy, Stoke has a lot of time to be looking at all these other people. Where the fuck is Sonny? Where?
It's a good point. I also think we should note the way that he was watching the monitor, because that was disrespectful. We saw it tonight.
He knew what he was doing.
He did know what he was doing. This match wasn't a match. This was one ego's edge and a disgruntled Ethan Page. So if you want to call that a match, it's the squashiest squash that ever did happen. But yeah, it seems like the Stokely Hathaway empire is expanding, and that's super fun. In my opinion, I think he's the best wrestling manager there is right now. So I'm all for it. If he doesn't
call it the Hathaway House, I don't even know what we're doing.
The Hathaway House?
Yeah.
Ooh,
Hathaway House.
I like it. We're going to talk about Stoke again. We're going to talk about Ethan Page again. So we're going pretty quick through this because we touch on him again. I did like the QT Marshall segment backstage with Cole Carter offering him a spot in the factory and letting him know he can sleep on it, but not with the fishes.
Baby, let me sleep on it.
Lee Moriarty winds up defeating his teacher, Matt Sydal. And after the match, Moriarty continues to wrench on the neck of Sydal, and Stoke gets in the ring and offers Lee a business card. Lee accepts it and shows off his muscles again. I just have questions for Stokely Hathaway here.
He's just trying to make money, man.
I mean, we know what the priority is. We know here. It's Sonny Kiss in the baddies. Come on, Stoke.
I agree with you 100%.
If you agree with us, you should let Stokely Hathaway know. Let him know the Mark Order pod.
I've been tweeting about it.
I mean, listen, it doesn't hurt to continue to ruffle his feathers. That's all I'm saying.
That's a very good point. And I think he seems easily ruffles based on some things we've seen. Ryan having a set change back there. My goodness.
Barely moved.
I'm laughing because Ryan was sitting still and his camera just decided to go stage left. My goodness.
Fucking crazy here.
All right, we're back.
Not having Sonny be in the baddies.
It's true. It's very true.
Let's see it. So we do get a Britt Baker promo on Thunderstorm that lines up the match tonight. We also had Claudio Castagnoli coming out with William Regal for an interview with Tony Schiavone. And Yuta joins him in the ring. And then Chris Jericho interrupts from commentary. And he's going back and forth with Yuta. And eventually he is outwitted and agrees to a match with Yuta for his title shot against Jon Moxley. So that sets up the match tonight. But boy, dim-witted Chris Jericho, not realizing what was going on. Come on, Chris, you got to be better than that.
He does not. He does not have to be better than that. This was my favorite part of the episode, I think. I just loved... I thought Wheeler Yuta did some great work here, and him like trapping sports entertainer Chris Jericho, I thought was super fun. Like him just saying, no, I know I could beat you. And Jericho just falling victim to that, I thought was really fun because Wheeler at one point just goes, nah. Jericho's like, I want a match against you. And he's like, nah, I'm pretty sure I can beat you. I beat Daniel Garcia. I thought that was a super fun way to set up what we got tonight, and I felt like tonight followed through on it super well.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're going to talk about this match coming up. We did get our acclaimed music video trashing the Ass Boys and Daddy Ass, and that's when they announced the match tonight would be a dumpster match. So that was a fun video. If you didn't see the music video for some reason, you can surely go find it. It was a lot of fun.
Done by our wonderful friends at Go Pro Wrestling, who are based in Butler, New Jersey, of all places, believe it or not.
Right around my corner.
There you go.
I wonder if they actually filmed it around here.
But
are they bouncing like in that music video?
Butts are funny.
They are funny.
Jesus, there goes Ryan's camera again.
What is going on?
You tell us, buddy. That's your house.
Yeah, man. Do you have somebody tied up over there and they're getting the camera?
The captain's not here tonight. He doesn't have anyone tied up.
All right. And then we had our interview with Ruby Soho and Anna Jay ahead of the main event. And then we go into our main event. Anna Jay winds up defeating Ruby Soho. Ruby Soho gets her arm brace or her wrist brace pulled off, and Anna Jay is able to hide it from the referee. She uses it to apply the Queen Slayer, and Ruby passes out. So they call the match. Anna Jay gets the win. And that's the end of the show on Friday night. Listen, guys, I didn't have a problem necessarily with the match, but I'll say it again because I said it last week and Friday night didn't help, and we're going to talk about it again later. I hate this Anna Jay. I hate it. It feels unnatural.
Yeah.
It's just not a fit for me. I don't know if you guys think I'm being too short-sighted here, but I just don't like it.
I think her working heel again is good. I just don't think this is the type of heel that she is. So I have like a little bit of patience for her to find it. But I just feel like the Queenslayer Anna Jay would have been such a better way to go back to being heel than this version of Anna Jay. But I like the idea of her working heel because I feel like she was supposed to be a heel and then kind of under Brody, like all the personalities of the Dark Order came through and everybody turned face, and she of course turned face with it. So I think letting her have a proper heel run is a good idea. I just don't think this is who she is as a heel. And it felt very inauthentic to me as well.
There's 2 Anna Jay heels we're getting right now. We're getting the one that's kind of similar to like Tay Conte, which is like, I'm hot, sexy, everybody wants me. And then there's the I'm going to choke everyone out heel Anna Jay. I do not like the first one because it doesn't feel natural. She doesn't sound natural when she says it. I love the I'm going to choke every single person out heel Anna Jay. It's cracking me up. She seems like a little unhinged, and I think she's pulling that off well because that's closer to the Queenslayer than the other. So they need to get rid of that first part and just go the other way.
Yeah, I want to be clear. I don't have a problem with her working heel. Like, I don't have a problem with that. I don't like this character. And even to me, like, I get what you're saying, Ryan, about I'm going to choke everybody out. Like, yeah, I get it. I just still feel like it's too gimmicky. Just a little. I feel like she's trying too hard at the moment. She just needs to like relax and let it come naturally and not like it seems forced. That's all it seems like to me right now. And I think if she finds her footing, this can work. But right now, it's just not for me. We'll have to see how it plays out.
No, I agree with you on that. Like, I like the move of the turn, but I don't like this turn at all. It doesn't work. To your point, she's not ostentatious, sexy girl Anna Jay. Like, she's supposed to be a badass. I liked that about her.
Right. She's the Jane to the Jungle Man.
There it is.
All I know is this.
She made him a jungle man, damn it.
She did. Boy, did she ever. I will say this. I also maybe would have liked, and now that I've had a chance to like digest her whole heel turn, I maybe would have liked her heel turn away from Anna Jay, away from Tay Conti, because that felt like just going back to that well.
Yeah, that's fair.
But again, we'll see what happens. It's just, I think she's got to find her footing. So we'll see what happens. But that was Friday night. That closed out Fight for the Fallen week. So I guess we helped the Dolphins or the Ocean stay clean or something like that. I don't know. Woohoo! Go Oceans.
We love that for the Ocean.
We do. We love the Ocean.
Too much Ocean. You need to get rid of it.
What?
Too much Ocean is such a funny thing.
Yeah. Ryan's like, I hate water.
It's just too much. Like, I'm all for the ocean, but calm down. You need to take up so much of the Earth's surface.
And it's like growing the water level. Like, ocean, back up a little bit. Like, come on.
Relax.
I will say this. Asian Joe says, Billy Ocean for the win. Asian Joe, after the Atlantic and the Pacific, Billy's my favorite ocean.
There it is.
There you go. I stole that from Scrubs.
That's a good one.
Anyway, so that's last week. We're going to jump into this week. We're going to take a short break because Kate needs to refill her, I'm doing air quotes here, water.
It's definitely just water.
Mm-hmm. You keep telling yourself that, Kate.
This is just water. This is water. I don't know what to say, but it's just water.
I'm just really tired.
I'm just tired. It's White Claw water, but it's water.
This just tastes like grapefruits and vodka.
All liquids have water.
It's just H2O plus alcohol.
Listen, as Baby A was told at Rob Zombie, because I kept saying, how's your beer? And he kept saying, it's not beer. Somebody turned around and was like, all water's beer without the beer. Or I was like, that didn't make sense, but I get what he was saying.
He was trying.
I was like, I think you've had a little too much beer, pal. That went right over Anthony's head. Anyway, Kate, I know you said it before. We are part of a network, and you said you do understand that. So we're not going to play this out. We're not going to draw it out. But in order for us to step aside, we are going to play a few words from some of the other shows that are on the current Shining Wizards network. But I can assure you this. A number of these shows will not be part of the Mark Order Network once that happens.
The merger.
But for now, that's right. Just like HBO is getting decimated by Discover Plus, we're going to decimate the Shining Wizards Network. But until then, why don't you hear about some of these other shows that are part of Shining Wizards Network?
Everyone knows a lot of things can change in the span of 10 years. But when it comes to professional wrestling podcasting, one thing is still guaranteed. The Shining Wizards is the only place to get all the latest wrestling news, interviews with the greatest guests, and of course, tons of laughs in discussing the world of wrestling. The show is still available on Monday nights at 7 p.m. East on rantdmradio.com and Rant Entertainment Media on the TuneIn app. And it's still available on all podcasting platforms. To check us out, head over to shiningwizards.com, where it's still wrestling talk and talk about wrestling.
Because of the obvious threat to untold numbers of citizens, and because of the crisis which is even now developing, this radio station will remain on the air day and night. This station and hundreds of other radio and TV stations throughout this part of the country are pooling their resources through an emergency network hookup to keep you informed of all developments.
Horns up, everyone. When on the Shining Wizards Network, be sure every Friday to check out Radioactive Metal. Radioactive Metal is one of the longest running podcasts on the interweb. And every week we bring you a fist full of metal, including interviews with all your favorite artists, discuss all the metal news, and feature the best tunes on the air today. So grab a Lemmy, join your cool Uncle Snowy and co-host Aaron in the pit.
Your recognized symbol of excellence in sports entertainment broadcasting from the current to the way back. Join the Impact player Phil Brea and the Portuguese Man of War Choppy for the Turnbuckle Throwbacks Wrestling Podcast, live every week on rantemradio.com. Get all our episodes over at iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn, Audio Boom, Google Play, ShiningWizardsNetwork.com, and TurnbuckleThrowbacks.com.
Are you tired of being told what to think and believe by Hollywood elites and politicians who just don't care about you?
Tired of not getting the truth when you watch the news?
Tired of trying to figure out what pronoun to use?
Tired of mob mentality when all you want to do is think for yourself and make up your own mind?
That's where we come in. This is Justin.
And Vince.
Your host of Inconclusive Breakdown.
We are a weekly anti-PC podcast bringing you entertainment and current event news without any spin.
If you want to truly stay informed on what's going on in the world, then give us a listen every Sunday, anywhere you get podcasts, at least till Zuckerberg and Twitter Jack deplatform us.
And as always, we're proud members of the Shining Wizards Network.
Tired of the PC police telling you what you can and cannot say? Want a show that travels back to the 80s and 90s, where the badass hosts have beaten down cancel culture on 3 separate occasions and carried on to gloat about it? Since 2013, The Midnight Jury is that show. Travel back to the malls and arcades, pop in your VHS, and join us where the 80s and 90s return from the dead. Conan, tell them where to find us.
WLWstudios.com, home of the Midnight Jury podcast, hosted by Midnight Mike and Calvin Brody.
Also available on all major podcast platforms via the Shining Wizards Network, and join in the conversation on Twitter at Midnight Jury.
What's up, wrestling fans? You want something awesome? Check out Wrestling Night in Canada here on the Shining Wizards Network. We're 3 Canadian metalheads uniting for the love of pro wrestling. Every episode we go over all the latest news and special events with the odd unique interview as well. So grab a cold one and check out Wrestling Night in Canada, eh?
All right, we're back here on the Mark Order podcast. Kate, I know we mentioned it before in passing about the free agency deadline. I just want to say congratulations to the San Diego Padres for winning the World Series. Congratulations. Congratulations.
She forgets she's muted.
She forgets she's muted.
No. They've got too far of a gap to close in all sports. Baseball, most of all. One player makes the least amount of difference.
On paper, that lineup thumps now.
It's true, but they got a rotation to worry about.
Well, when you thump like they can, we'll see. Anywho, a couple things came up in the comments during our break. I don't believe Radioactive Metal ever had a Rob Zombie. Cancel culture on 40 occasions. Yeah, I don't know about that, Rob Humphrey. I have questions about their track record, but you know what? I'm not here to cry fake news.
I don't know what counts as a W against cancel culture, but
yeah, I mean, who knows? Anyway, before we move on, we've got to remind you to follow us on our socials at MarkOrderPod. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, all the places you go for your socials.
On the clock.
TikTok taught me. And if you go to our socials, let's say you're on our Twitter, just go to the link tree. You can find all our social accounts there, but you can also find a button to request free stickers. And if you go to that button and click it, you can give us your name, your mailing address, and the country you live in. We'll send you some free stickers. The stickers are free. The shipping is free. There's no handling. We're not going to ask you for any weird information. I'm just trying to get past it. Okay.
Just a rights fee of $25.
Oh, come on. See, come on. There's no money changing hands.
They weigh a lot. You have to account for shipping and handling.
Guess what? I'm covering the cost. That's why I'm AntMoney. Because I'm spending my hard-earned dollars on you people. Anyway, let's talk about the rankings.
Hey, rankings.
Okay. So we know who our champions are in the men's division, but in case you don't, CM Punk is our champ. John Moxley is our interim champ. We've got Pac as the All-Atlantic champion, and Wardlow is our TNT champion. Folks, all new slots in the men's division. Hangman Page, number 1. 2, Jay Lethal. 3, Powerhouse Hobbs. 4, Chris Jericho. And 5, Daniel Garcia. Daniel Garcia jumping in after a big win last week. Clearly, we are lining up what is to come. In the women's division, same story. We know our champs are Thunder Rosa and TBS champ is Jade Cargill, but a whole new slew of rankings in the women's division. And it's nice not to see some names that we've seen in there inexplicably. So 1 is Tony Storm, 2, Chris Stat, 3, Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, 4, Jamie Hayter. How about that, Cooley? And number 5, Athena. And in the tag division, really not a lot of movement there, but our champs are Swerve and Our Glory. Number 1, FTR. Number 2, the Young Bucks. Number 3, moving up. Number 10, Evil Uno. Schlong, didn't you have a name you said you'd like them to be called by?
Evil 11.
Evil 11. I'll take it. The Acclaimed at number 4, moving up. And then number 5, Matt Menard and Angelo Parker. I like it. I'm not going to say it. I hate it. I like it. I like it a lot.
I like it a lot.
Yeah, I'll take that, Lloyd Christmas. All right, let's talk about Dynamite.
Hey!
So, no theme to tonight's episode. We just got off 2 weeks of themes, and we're leading into a theme show next week. Quake at the Lake.
The worst name.
Listen, and I've got to tell you guys this because I noticed it for the first time tonight. Go look at the Quake at the Lake cards that they were using, like for all the match previews tonight. If you're looking at the graphic, I don't know if it'll be there on the still images. It was there on the videos tonight. If you're looking at the graphic in the lower sort of left-hand quadrant, in the lake is a boat or a canoe. And in that canoe is Danhausen and Hook. I swear to God. It's fantastic. It was a great little Easter egg to see tonight.
All of our dorky little selves being like, is it going to be Johnny Gargano? No, it's Hook and Danhausen in a boat.
That's right. That's right. So tonight's episode is really setting up a few things. We've got Battle of the Belts Saturday. We've got a Rampage episode Friday. And of course, we're going into, we're gearing up for All Out coming. So there are a lot of, as our friend Matt says, spoons in the porridge.
Hey, you know what else we're gearing up for?
What's that?
A Grand Slam.
Well, that's late September, right?
I'm still gearing up for it.
That's true, but I think they're getting to the pay-per-view, right? And then they will have a couple weeks to get to the Grand Slam, and I'm sure not everything may be resolved at the pay-per-view. So,
correct.
We'll see. But for tonight's episode of Dynamite, a lot of fun. Let's go to the first match: Jay Lethal versus Orange Cassidy. And man, this was something that on paper I was like, I don't know if I need to see this, but I'm glad I did. This match to me was a lot of fun. And Kate, to your point before about Jay Lethal sort of being like mid on the mic and all this other stuff, this match just really does show you how fantastic he is in the ring. He's just a really, really great wrestler in the ring. So Jay Lethal, that was really repetitive. My apologies.
No, that's not why I'm laughing. I'm laughing because I pulled up the graphic.
Oh, you saw
it? Danhausen and Hook? Yeah,
it's in a still, and yes, it cracked me off once I saw it.
Perfect. But that was super repetitive. I was like, he's a great wrestler in the wrestling ring wrestling.
He is great at wrestling in a wrestling ring and doing wrestling.
He does wind up coming out with the win, so he gets the win over Orange Cassidy, and they were telling a great story with him really taking it to Orange Cassidy's leg, so he couldn't really get the orange punch in. We do get the lethal injection for the win. Post-match, Sanjay Dutt and Satnam Singh come down to the ring, and Dutt's cutting a promo about how hard Lethal kicked Orange Cassidy's ass, and he interviews Jay about Wardlow. And Lethal tells Wardlow that he'd better come down to the ring because he's going to break Orange Cassidy's leg with the figure 4 leg lock, and that's when the best friends make the save, and of course Wardlow is right behind them. So the heels run off, and Sanjay demands that Wardlow put that TNT championship on the line against Jay Lethal at Battle of the Belts this weekend, and Wardlow welcomes them to Wardlow's world and says it doesn't matter when or where. The end result is Wardlow's going to whoop that ass. Yeah. And that's also when I turned to Mrs. Money and said, would you like Wardlow to whoop that ass? And she said, it's not bad. So we could get, there's another possibility in Mrs. Money's world. Anyway. So what do we think about this match? Ryan's been pretty quiet tonight, so I'm going to throw it to Ryan first. What'd you think of the match and all the post-match setup to Battle of the Belts?
Listen, there's only one part of this match that matters, and it's where Satnam Singh got stared down by the gigantic Trent. I just don't know how he grew so much in such a short amount of time, but he did. It was a fun match. I'm not my favorite outcome. I'm a bigger Orange Cassidy fan than I am Jay Lethal, so I was pulling for it. But I get it because I understand what they're setting up, and Orange Cassidy can come back from this. But it was a good match because both guys can go in the ring. I love what they're doing with Wardlow right now. They're setting something up for him. Going to have a fun match. But really, it's just about that stare down between two gigantic men. That's what matters. That's what we all care about.
Can't disagree with you there. It was frightening. You could cut the tension with a knife.
You could.
What do you think, Kate?
Match was really fun. Also loved trench coat stuff. That was very, very fun. Match was great. I just do a cutter, man. The lethal injection, when he goes to hit it 8 times in a match or whatever, that extra handspring on the front of it is so unnecessary. But other than that, it was really good. Jay Lethal is great between the ropes. He's quite a ring general. Orange Cassidy had some really fun counters too in this match. He just it was a fun story. He had an answer for everything Lethal threw at him until he didn't, and that is perfectly serviceable. I like what it set up. Sanjay's post-match made me be like, oh, maybe he did 11 podcasts in 9 days too, because his voice was very sore. But he's just so much fun. He adds so much to this. And then Lethal saying, I know you're going to come down. I think was Lethal on the mic, or did Sanjay just say, hey, Wardlow, I know you're going to come down here?
No, that was Jay.
That was okay. Yeah, I thought so. That's a fun taunt of like, and he went to do the Powerbomb Symphony in the match too, which I thought was like a cute little nod to where this looks like it's going. So I'll take it. It was a fun opener, not two styles you ever like anticipate kind of seeing in the ring together. Like I didn't never put like Jay Lethal versus Orange Cassidy to open a show in my AEW fantasy booking wheel, but it was a perfectly good match, and I don't know, continues to be fun. I kind of want the best friends to win those trios belts. I feel like Orange Cassidy deserves some gold. He's perpetually over. It would be a fun way to reward a day one team. If you're not going to go with like the more obvious plays that are there, which we will talk about later.
Yeah, it's a good segue, but I did want to at least mention one thing before we segue off of this, Kate. Your point to Orange Cassidy always having a counter until he didn't. It's a great point because that happened a lot both ways during this match, right? Lethal was countering a lot just when Orange would start to get going, and then, Orange would counter. It was a lot of fun. Honestly, until the end of the match, I didn't really know which way this was going to go. So always fun when you have a match like that. Sorry to trounce your perfect segue, Kate, but we do go into the next segment with the Undisputed Elite making their return, and Adam Cole gets onto the mic. So it's Adam Cole. It's the entire Undisputed Elite, Adam Cole, the Bucks, and Redragon. And Cole says it feels good to be back in the ring with his friends, but there is some unfortunate news. He's not medically cleared, but he has taken the time to process a lot of things, the success they've had, and the things that they can work on, because as a great leader, he did call himself a great leader, you don't just celebrate successes, you figure out what you can fix. He says it's not just leadership, though, that makes you great, but the chemistry. And they have that in spades. Talent, which they're 5 of the best, and most importantly, loyalty and fighting alongside your brothers no matter what happens. And they have that too. And he came to AEW because of the Young Bucks. That's loyalty. He traveled the globe his entire career with O'Reilly and Fish. That's loyalty. And loyalty is power and success. It's everything, which brings him to the Trios tournament. And he says he's not medically cleared. Kyle isn't medically cleared. And if the Bucks don't pick Bobby Fish as their partner, they're not going to be allowed to do the tournament. And he then apologizes for not being clear with his words. He says that the Bucks won't be physically capable of doing the tournament. And that's when the turn comes. Bobby Fish chokes out Nick Jackson. Adam and Redragon leave the Bucks laying, and they start to beat them down. They get ready to Pillmanize Matt's neck. And that's when Hangman Adam Page makes the save with a lead pipe in his hand. It was an awful big lead pipe, but it was a lead pipe. And he makes the save and runs them off. And at the end, he offers Matt a handshake, and he takes it. Code of honor is enforced between the Young Bucks and
honor
Adam.
Is real.
There is friendship here. They led to it last week. We saw it in the backstage promo, these little breadcrumbs. And tonight we get a handshake. Nothing really more happened there. Just a handshake so that things are cool. And we're sort of left wondering what's next. So, I like this a lot. I think that this is sort of where we're leading with the Trios tournament with the Bucks and Hangman. And who knows what'll happen with the Undisputed Elite. But, Kate, I know you're playing with Buster.
I think he's playing with me.
Oh.
Not his Red Rocket, just like playing with a dog toy.
Mm-hmm.
This was super, super fun. I think we all knew that's where the story was going. It was just kind of like who was going to fall on what sides, right? Like, is Kenny Omega going to come back? Is Hangman, like they were hinting at it the whole time of him doing this? It just kind of makes me wonder what's going on with the Dark Order, because I felt like last we left, Hangman was their friend too, so we'll see. But I think this is such a fun story. And regardless of whether either side wins the tournament, I think this will be the story that goes over the Trios tournament. It's just such a natural, fun, easy thing. Great to see Kyle O'Reilly and Adam Cole back on my screen, even if they're not fully medically cleared. And since Bobby Fish was one of the first Quakers ever, to have him at Quake by the Lake will be really nice. So I think that'll be fantastic. And this is just, like Sean says it all the time on streams at Fightful, like predictable when it's good is fine, right? Like good and predictable is still good. Like I can see it coming, and if it makes sense and is well executed, it's still great television. So this was kind of an example of that, where I think the handwriting was on the wall and they just filled it in, and I thought it was really good.
And Schlong, I want your take here, but isn't it also great to see this is another seemingly long-term story being told that includes Hangman Adam Page? It seems like Hangman is the only one who can turn these long-term, long stories into gold. The whole chase with Kenny, this whole Bucks story. I mean, this is going way back, and now it's coming full circle. I mean, this is fantastic. I mean, I think it's fantastic. What do you think, Ryan?
This is day one shit. I mean, this is stuff they did from the beginning. Like, they started this story way back, so I'm loving that. Listen, just listen to that crowd when his music hit. Everyone wanted this. It's okay to give people what they want. Like Kate said, predictable isn't bad as long as it's good. 90% of stories are predictable. Because if you write well, your audience is going to be able to follow where you're going, because it has to be logical. Twists very rarely work because they don't make sense, and people are like, what the hell did we just get? So that's why, like, when a really good twist comes about, people thrive, love it, because it's special. That a twist works because you have to write really hard. So in this case, it's fun, like a predictable something. I just loved it. I'm trying to think of better ways, something Kate didn't say, but that's just it. I mean, it was a great moment. I think obviously Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly need to be close to cleared, because if they weren't, then they probably wouldn't be in a ring at all.
Right. And one last thing to talk about here. We've got to talk about it. It did get mentioned in the chat by Kyle K. Sparks, but I was going to bring it up after the fact. Hangman in the white boots with the butterfly jeans. I mean, that's fashion A+.
You could tell he was going out there in defense of the Young Bucks, because he was like, if I'm going to hang with these guys, no pun intended, pun a little bit intended, but not fully intended. He was like, I got to get my fashion game on point. If I'm running in there with the Young Bucks, I got to be sporting some butterfly jeans. I got to be coming out in white boots, because these are the guys that dyed their facial hair pink to match their fits, right? Like, these guys bring looks. And he said, I see you and I raise you. Here are some butterfly jeans. And he looked great. He always has amazing gear. Butterfly jeans, just right on top of that, man.
Just fantastic. What a great look for Hangman. And hopefully we see this friendship start to flourish again, because these guys are great in the ring together. So this looks like it's where it's going to go for the Trios tournament. They're still sort of lining all that stuff up. So we'll see how it starts to shake out in the coming weeks. But moving on from this, we get a Jon Moxley promo, and he's basically talking about he doesn't care who wins the number one contender match tonight with Jericho and Yuta. And when he says he doesn't care, it's not a non-answer. He just literally doesn't care who wins, because when the bell rings, there's no respect for his opponent. He's trying to hurt them and paint the canvas with their blood and teeth. And he says he won't stop till somebody goes to the hospital, even if it's him. No days off. That's why he's the best. And the BCC is going to make the Heart Dungeon look like a daycare. So we're just clearly building to whatever match happens next week in the main event tonight. So another good promo from Mox.
Kind of felt like gimmick infringement on Danhausen at one point, but other than that, it was really good. But like, I'm going to paint the canvas with teeth. What are you going to do next? Put them in a jar? Come on.
I really felt at one point that he was going to say, I'm Jon Moxley. I'm very nice, very violent. And that would have been a little too close. But it is what it is. We go to commercial and come back with footage of Christian Cage being interviewed earlier in the day. And he does mention that Jungle Boy was raised by terrible people, just like the people of Columbus, Ohio.
Boo.
And he says that the proof of that is because he Jungle Boy brought Christian's personal life into it, which I thought is just fantastic. He says he would never do that. And that's when the Jungle Man drives straight up and tries to attack him, maybe vehicular manslaughter there. But security manages to hold him back, and Christian is saying to boot him from the arena. So again, I mean, we don't have to break this down, but I love this Christian because he's like, he's bringing personal life into this. I would never do that. That's a low blow. And that's exactly what he did. I just love heel shit like that.
He started
really
it, bringing up the dead dad.
It's funny.
But yeah, I'll go next. I think that I've said it week over week that like Christian is just doing some very fundamental heel stuff. And to your point, that's exactly what this is, right? Like this is another example of just token heel things, but shading in the colors of the story so perfectly. Like it's so fun. Props to security for actually doing their job. It's nice to see anybody's parking lot security step it up at a wrestling promotion. Good for them. And shout out to the Christian is a pussy shirt that Jungle Boy came out in. This is kind of a fun side of Jungle Boy. We have only seen him kind of as like the straightforward Jungle Boy, jungle parkour man, where we're like, he's getting a little bit of an edge. He's got a little bit of a badass feel to him, which I think is good because it should be something that's extremely personal, but because Christian made it that way. Christian's fashion continues to, I think, set the bar for men in their late 40s, early 50s. I think both Edge and WWE and Jericho could take notes about not trying to look like a leather zaddy and looking like he went to Banana Republic instead. I appreciate that about him. But I've really loved this Christian run because it's just so damn simple. It's stuff that we have seen the archetype of before filled in really, really perfectly. And I just love it. I think he's doing such a good job of like, this is the heel textbook and it works every time. And it's going to work right now with a young growing talent is like a really just good piece of wrestling work.
Yeah, just continued good work by Christian here. And we're clearly building to the match tonight, right? So it's going to be Christian and Matt Hardy coming up later in the card. But for now, I'm not going to lie, guys. I thought I fell asleep on the couch and woke up late in the evening because I had women's wrestling on TV. But then I looked at the clock and realized it was just 8:30. So we had Britt Baker and Jamie Hayter, Team DMD, versus Thunderstorm, Thunder Rosa, and Toni Storm. Let's cut to the end here. Team DMD wins by pinfall with a short arm lariat from Jamie Hayter on Toni Storm. So clearly we are, this whole feud is not over. We've had, I think, 1-1, so we've got to go maybe one more. But this does lead to later in the night them mentioning that Thunder Rosa will defend her title at Battle of the Belts against Jamie Hayter. So Jamie Hayter, with this win, essentially deserves that shot. Because it's not going to be Toni Storm, even though she's won. They're partners, so I don't think they want to burn that bridge just yet. But honestly, guys, I didn't really have too many problems with this match. I mean, it was really hard-hitting. Even at one point, Rose was really taking it to Jamie Hayter, and I was like, oh, man, is she going a little too hard? Like, it looked like at one point Hayter was like, cool it for 1 second. Please let me breathe. But honestly, I didn't really have a problem with this match. I thought this was a really serviceable match. Everybody looked pretty good. There was some confusion for me at the end, and I even did say it on commentary. Like, everybody was in the ring for so long. I think Shivani said, does anybody know who's legal anymore? And it did become a little muddy there, but we did get to the end, and we're off to Battle of the Belts. So, Schlong, I'm going to go to you first. What'd you think of this match?
I'm still processing that we saw a match at this time, so it's really hard for me to fully
I agree.
Give my fan. Loved the matching gear on Hayter and Britt Baker. There are team, so that's important. Even if they're not always tagging, they're in the same group, so that's really neat. I really liked the match. It was a really good match, hard hitting, a lot of fun. You have four of their best wrestlers there. Not the four best, but four of the best in one match. I really hope we're not setting up Britt versus Rosa again. I'd rather either Rosa versus Storm or Rosa versus Hayter, which I know they set up Rosa versus Hayter, but like really set it up, not this like throw. But as a tag thing, it's great. I could sit here. I'm not, you know what? It's not, first of all, I'm not the one who usually complains about the women's division here because I let Kate do that. But two, when they improve, I'm not going to take shots. Like I could be complaining about why have tag, there's no tag division, yet you have tag teams, but that's minor because you have your champ involved in this. So that's kind of weird. She wouldn't be in a tag belt scene anyway.
And don't mean to cut you off, Schlong. I mean, for me, the bigger thing is I don't mind it's a tag match because it's at 8:30 instead of 9:35, and you get to see 4 female wrestlers in the ring instead of just 2. And
that's kind of what I mean by like I'm not going to complain when they actually did something right that we have been complaining about. They gave them a better time, and I think the fans were more into it as a result. I think people were like, "Holy shit, this is a real match." Yeah, I just hope they give Rosa someone other than Britt. That's the only thing I'll say about it coming out, and that's my one fear of this whole rivalry. But as a match itself, I really liked it.
And I'll say this, Kate, before we get your take. Mark Quill always doing the good work he does here on the women's division. Broke it down. Thunderstorm versus Baker Hayter. Match times. Entrances 2:16. Segment 1 3:57. Picture in picture 2:49. Segment 2 5 minutes 14 seconds. Post match 49 seconds. It had a total time of 15 minutes 7 seconds.
That's legit time for any match, not just a women's match, for any match. I mean, 5 minutes of uninterrupted TV on AEW feels like big deal. So it was very impressive.
Yeah, the relief of this was pretty real. Like, I will say, as somebody that watches the other product, that was the best Raw I've seen in at least 3 years. And it was pretty much entirely centralized around the return of Bayley and her new faction with Dakota Kai and Io Shirai. And the whole show really kind of was centered around that. This felt like a direct response. Madison Rayne coming on board as a coach, I think, is a really, really great move. But well, I disagree with it because I think if you're going to be an alternative to something, you shouldn't follow the same map as the original, right? But it's very clear that part of why we keep getting shafted on WWE content is because, or on AEW women's content rather, is that it actually maps what WWE was doing as far as percentage of how many women there are being showcased in the allotted times that there are. So the argument isn't we need more women on TV. The argument is they need to hire more women. So we've been complaining about Willow. We've been talking about Diamante being there and not signed. Like, there's that side of it too. But to me, this felt like a very immediate and direct and necessary response from Tony Khan, which I think is great. I think competition should push competition in positive ways, and I think that rules. This felt extremely intentional, and it should. The match itself, I thought, was fantastic. These girls beat the hell out of each other. I don't know if I've seen Britt go that hard in a really, really long time. Thunder Rosa always is, I don't want to say stiff because it's not like she's out there stiffing anybody, and I certainly don't want to reinforce that idea when she's going out there in a shirt that says sandbagging on it, but she lays her shit in. Like, there's no doubt about that. She's MMA trained too, which I'm sure is a big part of it. Toni Storm has just been so damn impressive since coming over here, and we all know what Jamie Hayter can do. I think this is being facilitated to set up a Jamie Hayter and Britt Baker split. I think that's where we're going with this. I don't think we see Thunder Rosa and Britt run back again. I think we see Britt maybe interfere with Jamie Hayter and say, like, this is too personal between Thunder Rosa and I for you to be the one that's getting the shot or whatever, something along those lines. So I think it's super fun. It was really nice to see a women's match featuring a bunch of talent in a prominent spot on the show that really delivered. Like, I thought the match was actually very strong from bell to bell, and it got a full 15 minutes. That's awesome. Like, let's keep that going, because I really don't think it's like too much to ask if you're not even going to throw a second match in there to do this. I thought it was a good use of talent, and I also thought this was just like a cool a cool look from Toni Storm and Thunder Rosa. They came out there and they both looked like stars. It was really, really fun. And I'm always a mark for matching gear. It kind of looked like Cody Rhodes gear, which made me laugh. It was like, they kind of look a little Nightmare Family-ish over there. But eventually I think we're going to have to get to a Britt Baker face turn because I just feel like that's inevitable. I don't know how much juice there is left in her being a heel right now. But from what I saw tonight was very encouraging, and I feel like kind of a direct response to competition, which is what you want to see out of competition. So Lord knows Triple H put women's wrestling back on the map for a while there in black and gold. If it forces us to do better in AEW, hell yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, I mean, listen, this is a good start, right? If they're going to sort of kickstart things with what the competition is doing. So let's see what happens. And, there's a couple, like Marcus Munoz says in the chat, where's Statlander 2? We need her there. Yeah, I don't disagree with that. I think that maybe they're cooling things off. I don't know what's going on. We didn't see, Jade or the baddies this week. So maybe they're just cooling that off for a minute. And then we'll see it again. They've still got that whole issue over there. But I think Stat's a part of this division that they see big things coming out of her too. And we're going to talk later, as we've sort of been peppering in. They have a new women's coach. We'll talk about that. There was a press release today and a bunch of other, kind of assignments with their talent team. So we'll talk about that after we get through Dynamite. But, could be that they're maybe sort of putting things in a holding pattern for a moment and maybe going to see what happens with their new women's coach. And maybe they're going to fill that out a little bit. So we'll see what happens, but this is a good first step. The only thing I actually will say that I didn't love during this match, and it's a very nitpicky thing, the sidewalk slam that Toni Storm put on Jamie Hayter. Like, I would just say to Toni Storm, depending on who your opponent is, just take that move out of your repertoire. Like, that just didn't look good. It just looked sloppy, but that's a really small thing. Really good match, really fun, and a pleasure to see women out of that death slot at 9:30. So, bravo. We move on. We get a video package from Tay Conti and Sammy Guevara, and they let us know that they're not on the show because they're getting married, and it's like setting up this whole thing, and they're in Paris, and they're better than you, and then all of a sudden it cuts, and Eddie Kingston's backstage. And he's mad about it. He says, Sammy, congratulations. Nobody cares. He shows you how to watch the TV backstage. And then he says, what people do care about is Eddie getting his receipt and the contract signed for All Out. He got it from Tony. So when he's done with the romance in his marriage, check the mail, sign the contract because he's going to get it at the pay-per-view. So Kate is excited. We know we've got maybe one match coming for the pay-per-view, and that's all Kate needs. It's sold. She'll be there. Well, she won't be there, but she'll be in front of her television.
I might have to.
Oh.
Wherever Eddie goes, I go.
Okay.
He's my M and my FMK if Dan Barry's not watching. So I actually
Dan Barry's not watching.
You never know who's watching. I'll put it that way. I loved this, and not just the Eddie part. I think it was really a fun move for them to take the go away heat that is on Sammy and Tay and kind of reverse it. Like, this actually cracked me up with what they did with the segment of this, like, we are in Paris and we are getting married. It's such like it's so shitty and fun. The most beloved couple of whatever. I actually thought that the video package part was a blast. And it was such a perfect softball to set up Eddie Kingston of all people with, because he was just like, I don't care. Why don't I get one of these? The only thing I didn't like about this was the absolute slander from Eddie Kingston on how, like, you're watching TV the wrong way. I thought he was a professional. So I don't understand why he was pretending like wrestlers shouldn't be watching like this. That's on him. I feel bad. Like, maybe he just was never told, but that's how you watch television. That's how I watch Dynamite like this for 2 hours. To get myself in the pro wrestling spirit. You know what I mean?
That explains a lot, actually.
Yeah, it's why, you know how when I, like, before the show, I'm always like trying to stretch and stuff. It's because I've just been the entire time, because I want to feel like I'm there. So other than that, this is just, I love when we get to see shades of Eddie Kingston like this too, as as much as I'm enamored with zombie gasoline wielding Eddie Kingston, this like silly part of him that gets to come out from time to time is such a blast. And I think him and Samuel is a great follow-up story to what he did with Jericho. I just still need to see him put Chris Jericho in a body bag. Like, that booking is still so unresolved to me, but if he wants to go beat the shit out of Sammy Guevara in the process, that sounds like a blast. And also just a kudos to the end of Blood and Guts being so well booked that Eddie Kingston is probably annoyed at Claudio, still pissed at Chris Jericho, and, threw Sammy off the side of a steel cage. So just perfect booking for someone who that's the rest of the year in stories, if not longer. Like, that's so perfect. So loved this silly little segment from Tay and Sammy. Congrats to them if they actually are getting married. And I think I love the lighthearted Eddie Kingston. I want this cake Eddie Kingston is such a fun version of Eddie to get to see, but learn how to watch television.
Oh, harsh words, harsh critic from Kate. Schlong, do you have anything you'd like to add? Kate said it all, right? She took up like 10 minutes. Okay, we'll keep moving.
So, he's my lover.
I know. It's okay. We're just going to move on. We do get a recap of what happened last week with Powerhouse Hobbs and Ricky Starks. That's when Taz informs us that he has notified all 3 members because he said, I didn't know Starks was going to do a second title match, open challenge. I didn't know Hook was going to accept that challenge. And I didn't know Hobbs was going to attack Starks after the match. So he said, I've informed all 3 men that Team Taz is officially over and done with. He wishes them all the best. Guys, I will just say this before we get into what happens next. This is my favorite definitive breakup of a faction ever in wrestling because it's just said and it's done. Like, there's no second guessing, the faction breaks up, the inner circle, but then it doesn't break up and Sammy's back and there's all this stuff. This was the most definitive breakup I've ever heard, and I love it. Just perfect.
I really loved, too, that he said to Hobbs, like, you don't know what Starks is capable of because Hook is a face, and my guess is that he's going to be in Hook's corner moving forward. And so he should be on the side of the face, who is now Ricky Starks in this situation. And we'll get to the match. But I also love the extreme clarity of we're not a thing anymore. And that he wished best to everyone involved, I thought was such a fun play because it doesn't automatically call Hook into immediately having a rematch with either of these guys or a match with either of these guys. Like, I thought that was just such a good thing of like, hey, we amicably split ways. Why? Because down the road you could reunite. Down the road you could reunite 2/3 of them. Down the road you could bring Brian Cage into the fold if you wanted or whatever. Like, if you leave it open like that, there's so many places you can go in the future. And then on top of that, like, they're not running Hook versus Hobbs or Hook versus Starks in the near future. So why would you go out of your way to make it something that has animosity in it? Like, if that happens again, let it happen organically. Beautiful. But I agree with you. I thought this was so much fun, and Taz is such a blast. I love that guy.
Also, speaking of Taz and Hook, they did put a video last week up on the AEW socials of like Taz with Hook backstage talking about the FTW title and some of the background and stuff like that. It was fun to see Hook being like a human and a dad and just like, I'm proud of you, brother. And they give a little bro hug at the end. Just I said to G, that has to be sort of like a cool moment. If you're in the business and then you see your own son doing something like that, that's got to be a very cool moment. So
yeah, and then after an astronomical rise for someone who wasn't even like fully sure he wanted to do this, right? Like, what a fun trajectory that's been.
I mean, and let's be honest, Gresham calls himself the foundation. I mean, Hook's the foundation. Let's be real.
He's the foundation. He's all 4 pillars. He's all the walls.
Yeah, he's the building.
He's the whole house.
Yeah.
House of Hook. Sorry, Swerve. It's the House of Hook.
Yeah. We do go into the match. It's Ren Jones versus Powerhouse Hobbs, and no contest, brother. It's Will Hobbs with a win by pinfall with a lariat. Post-match, Absolute Ricky Starks flies down to the ring to attack Hobbs. Unfortunately, Hobbs does get the best of him with the power, not the power slam. Sorry, the whatever. You know what I'm talking about. I'm fucking can't think of it. I'm tired.
Spinebuster?
Spinebuster, there it is. I'm like, it's a sidewalk slam, power slam. No, fuck it. I just move it on. So obviously there's this issue, and Hobbs is the face, or not Hobbs, Starks is the face. So we're gonna see where this goes. I'm assuming this might have to play out, at the All Out pay-per-view, or maybe even in New York City at Grand Slam. So should be a lot of fun. Not too much to talk about the match.
Yeah, this was all in the post-match. Ren, what was his name? Ren Jones, was it?
Doesn't
Ren
matter.
something?
He's a splatter on the canvas now.
That's a tough payday.
Yeah. I will also say this. Very interesting. Hobbs coming out of the Cody position on the ramp.
Oh yeah.
Yes, but he doesn't raise, but he doesn't raise up from the ground, right? Just the thing lifts over him.
He's too big.
Yes, the elevator tried to go up, but just got stuck.
He won't even fit through the hole. He's just too big.
Is what she said. Thank you.
Boom. So we do get a Miro promo. He's basically calling Malachi Black a pagan, and he says
what about the post match with Ricky Starks?
We talked about. You said it. Go ahead, Kate. Go
ahead.
It's
just my favorite story in wrestling right now. I think. Like I loved the tenacity that Ricky came down to the ring with, and he just came throwing hands. He doesn't care about the size disparity. He came to beat the shit out of him, which I don't know. I just like the way Starks has executed this face turn. I feel like has been unbelievable, and I'm so invested in such a short amount of time. I can't remember a non-title centric story that I cared about this much. Maybe I guess Punk and MJF was pretty incredible stuff. But I'm just in love with this story, and I'm loving seeing Ricky Starks get the shine that he deserves. And Hobbs, like another one of these young guys who's growing up in front of us, doing such a good job. Like I think we've talked a lot about Starks and Garcia and Wheeler and stuff, but like I don't think Hobbs is there in the ring yet, but he feels so important now. And I think this feud is doing wonders for both of them. So, but we can move on. I wanted to circle back because
that's fine.
It's my favorite story, I think, right now.
No, that's totally fine. I thought you had said your piece, Kate. I didn't mean to move on. And Schlong, I didn't mean to move on without anything you wanted to add either. If you'd like to add something here.
Nah, Kate's covering all of it. I'm just gonna let her go.
Aggressive.
All right. Well, we're gonna go to the Miro promo now. He basically is just calling Malachi Black a pagan and basically says that he's evil and that eventually he's going to reveal himself. So clearly we're still working on Miro and Malachi Black. Interesting note. I don't know if you guys noticed, he did not show that left eye. That left eye was in the darkness off camera. So last week or 2 weeks ago, whenever that was when we saw him, he came out in sunglasses and it looked like there was a patch over that eye. So I don't know what's going on there. Should be interesting.
Hell yeah.
We also get a Darby Allin promo out of commercial where he takes credit. Darby Avant-Garde. Sorry. There it is. It wasn't black and white, so it should be Darby Avant-Garde. So Darby cuts a promo and he's taking credit for Brody King getting hired by AEW. He's the one who went and said, that they should hire him. And he says now he's going to shut the lid on this coffin next week. And he shows he's been tattooing his hand. And he said, I'm going to close the coffin on you next week. So at Quake by the Lake, we're going to get the coffin match, Brody King versus Darby Allin. Sorry, Darby Avant-Garde. And also a fun thing to this, I don't know if you guys saw it on social over the last week. Brody King, two things on Brody King. One, he got the tattoo of the tombstone with Darby Allin's name on it, or it says like R.I.P. Darby Allin.
Your lies, that's commitment. I love
whatever.
It. Yeah.
Doesn't matter. It's commitment like a motherfucker. And the second favorite Brody thing I saw on socials this week, Mrs. Money actually sent it to me. For those who don't know, Brody King is the frontman for a hardcore group called God's Hate. All one word. I think they're fucking rad. They played, I think, the Sound and Fury Fest out in California this past weekend. And there is a video of him on stage, and he takes a running start from the side stage and he goes to do a stage dive, a front flip stage dive into the crowd, and they slow it down in slow motion. And all I kept thinking was, if I was there in that front of the crowd the whole time, that's probably how reality looked, slowed down, because that is a giant man to be doing a front flip stage dive onto your head.
The way I would just dart and not break his fall at all in the slightest.
Oh, I mean, it's just, it was impressive to see, but at the same time, it was frightening. I don't know what else I could say besides it was absolutely frightening. Actually, I have it here if you want to see it.
I do want to see it.
All right, hold on.
Kate wants to see it.
Kate's going to see it. Sorry, guys. Hold on. And for those of you who are listening or not watching this, you won't get to see it. Hang on here. Here we go. I think this is as big as I can make it. So you could see he's pacing the stage, and here we go. He gets a running start, slow motion.
No.
Here he goes. Oh, he didn't do a front flip this time. Sorry, I misrepresented that. But still, that is a giant man.
That might be worse. That's not better.
That is a giant man to be coming down on your head. You can see all that kid. It's like, oh, does his thing. But
yeah,
that is a giant man to be coming at you from a stage.
I just immediately dart away. I would just immediately be gone.
Yeah, it's impressive. So two things on Brody King that I thought were fun this week. So the tattoos are a fun twist. I mean, I don't think Darby's really got a palm tattoo, but you never know. He's avant-garde.
It's true. And I liked that I liked this Darby avant-garde because it had some sincerity to it. Like he said that he was the guy that was like, oh, you gotta sign Brody King. Like you gotta bring this guy into the company. And that like basically Brody King had chosen to align himself with the wrong people. And I just liked that there was like a clearly told story behind Darby avant-garde, which made the avant-garde part a little bit more satiable, I would say.
True. Also, comment from Jesse Ozog. Nice of the manager at Hot Topic to let Darby film in the break room. Very true.
It was.
It also did not look like a sanitary place for Darby to be tattooing his own palm.
No.
I'm just going to say that.
Not great.
Doesn't look like it followed any health codes. No. Schlong, anything you'd like to add?
The Darby videos do nothing for me. I'm going to be quite honest. So it's just kind of like whatever.
Oh my God, Ryan, who likes everything.
I know. I was just going to say.
Avant-garde.
Negative moment for the Rye guy.
My God, he's just always shitting on everything.
Seriously. He's got to get out more.
Next thing you know, he's going to be like, come on, you fucking hand jobs.
Whoa, that's gimmick infringement.
That is.
That's gimmick infringement. Like when somebody used to do a weekly pizza read for Matt and then somebody else stole it live on the air. And it never happened again.
And neither of them are with the Mark Order podcast anymore.
No, neither of them are Marks on this podcast. All right, let's move on. We get the grudge match, or the rivalry restarted. Christian Cage versus Matt Hardy. They wheeled out JR at this point in the show as well. So Christian Cage winds up winning by pinfall with the kill switch. Post-match, Cage is able to slide a couple chairs in the ring, but that's when Luchasaurus music hits, and he makes his entrance. And commentary is saying, well, Jungle Boy's not here. Oh, to their amazement, it was all a distraction. The Jungle Man, wearing his shirt that says Christian is a pussy, slides in from behind with a chair, but Christian does manage to get away. So clearly the Jungle Man and Christian still have issues here. It's not personal, if you ask me. Christian didn't make it personal. Jungle Man did. So.
Whoa. He brought his dead father into this, Anthony.
No, I don't think that happened. I don't think.
You are just right. Under the same spell as your wife is.
Well, speaking of Mrs. Money, tune in Saturday night to the Battle of the Belts special we're going to do live after Battle of the Belts. We've got an FMK that's going to happen. We know that for sure. And if you're lucky, you'll hear an hour of Tony Nese talk. It's Talking Tony on the Mark Order Podcast bonus show. And I don't mean me, Tony. I mean Nese.
Or Shining Wizards Tony. We're talking about...
Definitely not Shining Wizards Tony. Nobody wants to talk about him.
No. We're talking about the Ab Man himself, Tony Nese.
So, Schlong, I'm going to you here first since you say Kate's talking about everything and stealing all your thunder.
I didn't say anything. She was covering the points. I was letting her go.
No, it's okay. Kate, he said you were stealing all of the talking points and that he would like to get a word in at some point. So I'm going to throw it to Ryan first.
No, that's fine. I don't want to take up too much room on this podcast.
That's fine. That's fine. I mean, we're here for it. So Schlong, what do you think of this match? Because I'll be honest with you, like I didn't need this match. Like they could have given me something else, but like they're just advancing the story. So I don't know. What do you think?
I didn't really care about the match. I like the stories surrounding the match. I like Matt Hardy earning his penance. That's a really interesting character development that I've kind of been enjoying. It's been funny on BTE when he's just getting beat up in the background and stuff like that. And of course, I love the Christian Jungle Boy story. And you had to know Jungle Boy was coming out. Again, it was one of those predictable things, but it was okay because, again, I'm just here to enjoy myself. And it's enjoyable to see Christian act like scared for a second, confused. But smart enough to know what was going to happen and get out of the ring. So he still has that savviness. So I liked it all around, but the match was...
I wonder if he ran off like he said, because he was worried about what he would do if he got his hands on Jungle Boy.
He's so good as a heel because he says all the things that douchebag kids used to say when they were like really annoying and you just wanted to hit them. Like, I didn't want to fight you because I could really hurt you. Or, why are you bringing that up? Like, what? It's like, oh, is that really annoying kid you hated? And that's Christian as an adult, and it's perfect.
It's just nice to hear Ryan finally say something positive on this podcast. Like, he's just always talking about Darby's video packages and how they're the worst thing to happen to wrestling and how they're ruining the business. But thank you, Rob Humphrey, in the chat for mentioning that. I hardly have a chance to voice my opinion on a wrestling podcast. Like, it's extremely rare that I even get this opportunity. So if you're just going to criticize me for trying to make the most of it, I don't know what to do. But, I think it's fun. It was a nostalgia play. That's fine. I think they have to obviously figure out something for Matt Hardy to do now that Jeff is going to be away for the foreseeable future. So I'm sure that was part of it. Like, it's fun to put him in as the vehicle there to advance the other story, right? That's kind of something that we've seen come out of the Tony Khan playbook a lot is, let me use this other guy to advance a different story, which is a playbook that I like because it keeps it fresh and interesting and gets you out of a rematch trap. So, I thought this was super fun, and this was fun for Jungle Boy. Like, why not? I like this Jungle Boy edge. But yeah, why not? Run back the nostalgia for fun. Make it 2004.
You said the word edge and it made me think, did you guys see the meme going around? And maybe it's old with the PC principal side by side with Edge.
Oh no, that was from this week, buddy. Yep.
Okay, good. I'm not that far behind.
It was so good.
I can't unsee it. It's true. They were like, you'll never unsee this. And I was like, you're right.
That's like what I'm saying. Only Christian, man.
So we do get the Red Death Daniel Garcia interviewed backstage, and he talks about beating Bryan Danielson. He says he's the Dragon Slayer. And he'll be happy to slay the dragon again whenever Bryan is ready. So cocky Daniel Garcia entering the rankings, just let you know he's still hanging out. And we also get a video package of PAC's defense of the All Atlantic Championship that I think they aired on one of the Darks this week. I don't remember. I think it was just Dark, not Elevation.
Straight up Dark, yeah.
And the interesting thing there is that he's very annoyed with Boxhead Kip Sabian.
I wish I had a box.
Me too. Oh.
That's another great clip. Thanks, Kate. So just a couple things to mention there. And then we go live in the ring with Ethan Page. And he starts going on and on about why isn't he on TV every week? Why doesn't he have an action figure? Why isn't he on the side of production trucks, and he says he deserves better. And Stoke makes his way to the ring. While he's talking, he sort of slides in behind him, and Ethan keeps going on, talking about, well, that's close, Kate.
It's the best I could do on such short notice.
Okay. Well, Ethan
that's
keeps...
not even close.
Yeah, I mean...
I said it short notice, Ryan!
Well, you have a week to find a box to put on your head.
That's what she said. Or he said.
Yeah, I've been trying for 35 years. Haven't had the luck, so I don't know what we're talking about here.
Come on, Ryan. We'll fix that at Fozzie weekend. So Ethan keeps going on about nobody's buying his t-shirts. And that's when he finally notices Hathaway in the ring. And Hathaway takes the mic and asks him what he's doing, whispers in his ear. And that's when he hands him a card. And Ethan Page takes it. So the thing of note here for me, guys, is it looks like maybe the, top team thing is done.
Hallelujah.
So it's fun. Okay, and then here's where we're at next. This got a big... Oh my goodness. I don't even know what that says.
It says underrated over it. I'm trying to...
Oh, that's not
trying to
work.
be Kip Sabian.
No.
What I liked about this segment was Ethan Page deserves to be on my television in a prominent spot because he's really great. And then on top of that, not every manager needs to be a mouthpiece all the time for everyone. And I think those two have just become so synonymous over the years that this was a really nice reminder that like a manager is also supposed to help you strategically and set up matches for you and interfere and do all these other storytelling things that are more than just cutting promos because you suck at talking. So I was just really relieved to see Ethan Page back on my screen again. And B, it was just a nice reminder, a refresher of like the role of a manager being expansive beyond being a mouthpiece, because I think Stokely's building up this faction that so far has Lee Moriarty and Ethan Page in it. Like, that's fantastic news. And additionally, it means Dan Lambert is no longer on my television. So I really appreciate it. I think Stokely is the type of manager who's obsessed with the pay window. So that's like the perfect person to pair with someone who's already a strong promo. And I think the footprint of Stokely Hathaway continues to build. So he is not being underrated. And for that reason, I am not over it.
Well, I'm going to put up for discussion here what Mark Quill has in the chat. He said he saw some speculation that Stoke was working for MJF, and it made him wonder, especially with how he's courting overlooked AEW stars like Moriarty and Ethan Page. Mark Quill also said that Stoke sent out a tweet with blank spaces next to Ego and Moriarty. So it's interesting here what's going on.
Isn't that a Taylor Swift song, Blank Spaces?
I have no idea.
Got a blank space, baby. And I'll write your name.
I don't like Taylor Swift.
Boys only fun love if it's a torture or something like that. Don't say
He's pretending she doesn't know as she sings more and more lyrics.
I know.
It was coming to me in the moment, Ryan. Stop underrating
I muted you,
me.
Kate. It's okay. I muted you.
I'm over it. Like
Good.
Sabian, and I'm gonna challenge for the All Atlantic title.
Well, can I tell you what I'm not over? I'm not over Angelo Parker and Daddy Magic Matt Menard.
I want to know what makes his nipples hard, Ant.
That got a huge pop in my house, and what makes his nipples hard is that Chris Jericho is going to win the world title a second time. And Tony begins to question that, and Parker starts to berate him for not believing. He also pulls out his comb switchblade comb in front of Tony, and he says that the JAS are just keeps getting better. And Jay says, or Anna Jay says that she's the sexiest and toughest, and she'll choke Shivani out, she'll choke the camera guy out, she'll choke the crew guy out, and then she actually did go and choke the crew guy out. So watch out for Anna Jay. We talked about it before. Schlong's into it. I'm not that sold on this yet, but I get what they're trying to do. Just don't love it.
Not to play too much comparison between brands, but on Monday, Tommaso Ciampa cut a great promo, And in the middle of it, he took the mic from the interviewer's hand. And before he took it, he said, "May I?" to Sarah Schreiber. And I just think we need to start treating Tony Schiavone with some more goddamn respect and stop threatening to choke him out. Stop calling him an asshole. Stop stepping in front of him. Stop ripping the mic out of his hands. Just a simple "may I" would be nice.
Hey, Kate.
What?
Cut the shit.
Oh.
Yeah. See?
Done.
You can say it to me, because who the fuck am I? That's Tony fucking Schiavone out there, okay? Respect for Tony Schiavone. But I am somewhere in between you two. This isn't working for me yet. I think that it is. I'm hoping it's gonna get there. I like this better than her being like, "I am sexy," and that is all I have. Her being violent is good, but just like, it's not the crew guy's fault that you're so cranky all of a sudden, Anna. What do you have against the crew guy? He's probably just trying to help. That's rude.
Well, I do have this question from Asian Joe for Ryan Schlong. Are you into Anna Jay's character or getting choked out by her? This is a very interesting question.
Not mutually exclusive either. You could be into both.
Okay, so there's two things here. One, they're not mutually exclusive. Are we talking Ryan or the captain here?
We're talking Ryan. He addressed Schlong, not the captain.
Okay, well then Ryan, I'm into the character.
Okay.
Hey, listen, we're not here to kink shame you, Ryan.
I'm not. But if you wanted the captain's answer, it would be a different answer.
Well, I'm sure the captain would like to choke her. That's the character. That's what it seems like.
Not her.
All right. Well, moving on in the card, we get the Gun Club versus the Acclaimed in the dumpster match here. So, of course, the rules are you have to get both of your opponents in the dumpster and close the lid. And so we do get some back and forth. There's a lot of shit going on here. Cutting to the end of the match, we do get up on the ramp. Austin Gunn is above the tunnel, and he's waiting up there for something, and that's when Max Caster sneaks up behind him, and he tosses him off the entry tunnel into the dumpster. And that's when Bowen sets up Colton on the table, and Caster hits the mic drop off the tunnel through the table. They get Gunn, Austin into the dumpster, and they close the Ass Boys in. After the match, they zip tie the dumpster closed. And that was also a point in Mrs. Money's analysis. They're pretty big, strong men. I hope they can break that zip tie. I said, yes, that's a great point. But they zip tie it closed, and then they work their way over the edge to the edge of the platform or to the stage, and they throw the dumpster off. The interesting thing there is that the dumpster did a complete flip and landed top down. I wonder if that was supposed to go that way. It did not look like it. But either way, I don't know, guys. The match was what it was. I'm not a huge fan of these types of matches, but, Kate, what's your thought here?
This isn't my favorite thing in the world either, but for the Acclaimed versus the Ass Boys, this is a perfectly fine blow off to be.
So, Ann, I really enjoyed the match. I thought it was a lot of fun.
No, continue, Pumpkin Patch. Go right ahead.
He popped himself hard. He can't even
He's
speak.
Crying.
He is.
He's crying. He loves cutting off women's voices so much.
Misogynist.
He is a misogynist. Thank you very much.
Hey, Kate, I'm here to hear what you have to say. I'm an ally.
Thank
you
you,
can speak.
Aunt. I appreciate that about you. Nice to know I have some of them in this world. I'm
here for you, Kate. Go ahead. I'd love to hear what you have to say.
I thought it was a fun blow off for the Acclaimed versus the Ass Boys. What is with Ryan heel turn central over here? I don't like it.
Every once in a while, he gives it to us on a given week. We can't predict it though. It's not like every 4 weeks. Sometimes it's sooner, sometimes it's later.
It's fucking. It's fucking rude. But this for me, this was perfectly fine because of who was involved. Like the Acclaim versus the Ass Boys that's perfectly acceptable. Bowen's bump into the trash cans I thought was really fun. And I thought Max Caster's rap was good here with the Vince McMahon pop and the Biden pop. Like he seemed to have found his rhythm of how to be edgy without being over the line, which I think is good. Which basically means just don't make jokes about rape on national television. But yeah, I this is not my favorite match in the world. I think this would have been a really fun opener to Rampage. Like I kind of wish, like, because Rampage feels like such a field trip over there, but this was totally fine. Bowens is the best wrestler and all of this and probably did the least, so it's not like my favorite thing in the world, but perfectly fine for the two teams that were involved. And I don't think they've done a dumpster match yet, and I don't think we've seen one in like 20 years. So right. I'll take it. This was perfectly fine.
Ryan, there is a question here for you again. How many times, Rob Humphrey wants to know, how many times have you beaten down cancel culture?
So the reason I haven't had to beat down cancel culture is no one cares enough to cancel me.
Is that a challenge?
Oh boy.
No, I mean, you can try, but no one's going to care.
No.
It's like, please don't.
No, I mean, you could try, but everybody would be like, who? The guy who lets his name be a dick joke. Bowens had, in this match, one of the best super kicks I've ever seen. I don't know why, like, it was so fast and so on the money. It was unbelievable.
On the money?
On the money. Oh, the money.
There it is.
But hello. Yeah, this would have been better on Rampage, but I kind of get why they put it here. You know, give a little break before the main event. It was fun. Fun. You know, I forget who said it. One wrestler out there said it, that wrestling is a variety show. It's not a single act. You want to have different things, and this was something different. I do wonder with you, Ant, like, what was the actual end game with the dumpster going over? Was it supposed to flip?
There were a lot of people who ran out and they moved the camera away quickly, so my guess is it was not supposed to flip over.
My real hope is that this was a magic trick and we just missed them going out the back of the dumpster.
That's what I was looking for, to be honest.
Yeah, that's kind of what. Did you see the foot under it?
Yes. I did. Even Mrs. Money was like, haha, his foot is like dangling out of it. I'm like, no, that thing's heavy. Like, that's no good. But I mean, I think even I think I had heard either Mick Foley or Terry Funk talk about when they went over the edge in the dumpster, that I think that they had like straps or something to hold on to, but it's still not enough to prepare you for.
Well, you notice that dumpster was not empty.
No, there was packing peanuts in it. I mean, it was...
Yeah, like, in some ways I wonder, like, it might have been safer than half the bumps they take.
Yeah, I still don't... It definitely wasn't supposed to flip. Like, that certainly seems like it's true. But, yeah, listen, it's a gimmick match. I mean, you had the Gun Club come out in trash collector, garbage man uniforms, basically. So what more were you going to expect out of this match? But some fun stuff. Check it out if you're into it. Guys, we got some footage from the Ric Flair last match, Bunkhouse Battle Royal. We saw old Mance Warner winning. And we are informed that he's going to get to fight Jon Moxley on Rampage in an eliminator match. So if Manser can get a win, he's going to get a shot at that interim title. I don't know if you guys know this. Mance Warner's over in Florida.
That rules. That match is going to be awesome.
Yeah. No, I have no problem with Manser.
Hell yeah.
Just seems like out of left field, but I'll take it.
I'm okay they're doing this with Mox having an interim title, because if it was the main title, I would want more actual stories booked. But since it's interim, I don't care as much because you can have a little bit more fun with it. So, I just feel like it's probably better off.
What happened there? Kate, why'd you leave?
Hey, Kate, why'd you leave?
Was my choice.
I know.
I think it was your choice.
Ryan was just being so negative again.
He's very negative tonight.
He's very negative.
He's got to get out more.
He's so rude.
No, I go out, I get COVID.
Oh, cry me a river. I've talked to you when you've had it 3 times.
Listen, I'm pretty sure you're
different
patient
strains.
0.
Yo, listen.
True.
That's all.
We also found out Madison Rain's going to make her debut on Rampage. We're going to talk about Madison Rain momentarily. We get a video package for Claudio defending his world championship against Kansuke Takeshita. Takeshita, sorry, excuse me. On Rampage. Or at the Battle of the Belts, excuse me. And so now we're into the main event. Buster, my goodness.
We're getting to the main event. I know he's very upset that Brian's been so negative today.
It happens. The energy is palpable.
You know what? You guys wonder why I'm negative? It's because the chat is attacking me. Asian Jim saying I'd rather stay home.
No, that's not what he said. That's what he said.
I know, but I didn't want to say it.
It's right, Asian Joe. We were texting back and forth before, and I said, I'm going to get some Wooter Ice, Wooter. Wooter.
And I got all your texts as the show started.
Your phone is as bad as Kate's was like 2 years ago. You got to upgrade.
I'm blaming you. I have no problem but with our group thing.
What service are you using, sir?
AT&T.
Oh, come on. There's your problem. The two of you.
Ryan, if you don't want to be a part of the group, all you have to do is say so. Okay?
Just ignore everything then. Fine. We're at the main event, fellas. Jericho versus Yuta. And
fellas.
What?
And dames.
Well, I mean, it's just it wasn't meant to be like guys, like
Sexist
boys.
Already.
Excuse
You're on
me.
thin ice.
Me?
He's already sexist.
Why are you pointing?
I'm an ally. My apologies. I just see everybody equally, and I didn't think about it like that, and I'll have to think about it differently now.
Okay.
So, lady and gentlemen, we're at the main event. Jericho versus Wheeler Yuta, and whoever wins this gets the shot against Jon Moxley at Quake by the Lake for the title. And Jericho does come out with 2.0, and Claudio Castagnoli shows up to even the odds. Eventually, they do get sent to the back, so we are just left with Yuta and Jericho. Let's cut to the end of this match. Jericho is able to win by submission with the Lion Tamer, saving his title match at Quake by the Lake. Post-match, Jericho is refusing to break the hold, and that's when Jon Moxley makes the save. Chris runs away, but he does have a mic, and he calls Mox out and says that he just unleashed the demon and opened Pandora's box, because next week, if he wants the last survivor of Stu Hart's dungeon, he wants the Lion's Heart, well, he's got it. But he says he's going to stretch the shit out of Jon Moxley and walk out the new AEW champion. You can guarantee it. And
that's Lion Fart, Chris Jericho.
Whoa, negative.
Shit. So negative.
Seriously, if you wanted to hook you, you'd be hooked. So Kate, we haven't heard much from you tonight. I'd like to know what you thought of this main event and the post match.
Thank you, Aunt. I appreciate you leaving space for me to discuss my thoughts, because it's so rare that I talk about wrestling. I would say that it was definitely time for the main event, which was great. The match was awesome. Like, young Wheeler Yuta really continues to grow in front of us. And I think it was such a fun stipulation, because either way, it's interesting, right? Either we get a former champ versus a current champ who was also a former champ, despite being interim champ, or we get like mentor versus student, which both of those are really fun things. And it's just fun to have stakes closing the show that aren't necessarily directly related to the world title. They're world title adjacent, right? It's for a shot at it. So that was just a fun piece of storytelling and a playbook that they don't go too often in AEW. So I really liked it. And I thought the match was great. Like, this was fun. This is like the future versus the current moving into the past. Like, I think it's possible that this is like a Jericho retirement run, the way he's bringing out all of the shades of his past. But even if not, like it's very fun storytelling. I've loved this whole Jericho Appreciation Society rollout, minus the Eddie booking of the last thing we did, but him coming out there with the broken nose already, like he's a gamer, whether you love him or hate him. Like Jericho gets in there with his opponent. So I thought this was a blast. Seeing the full Lion Tamer at the end was great, and I thought the finish made sense. Loved the stuff with Claudio. It made sense to want to even the numbers game. And it's just such an easy way to get a pop for not really doing anything, right? Like,
yeah, totally.
Yeah, Claudio come out. Everybody's super excited for him to come out in the main event. He doesn't really have to do much. But a really fun way to close the show, and I just loved the storytelling around it. I thought that those were fun stakes to put into play here.
One note I had to Claudio was, "You're a champ, brother. Put that belt around your waist. What are you doing?
Yeah, put the belt on.
Get it out there." Schlong, what'd you think of this?
I mean, this was a really good match.
Oh, God, thank God.
I hated it, but it was a really good match. I appreciate the logic of, okay, they bring out their guys, so I bring out my guy. Their guys go away, so my guy goes away because I believe I could beat you one-on-one. Like, there's a lot of logic there that I appreciate. And I'm fine that Yuta lost because Jericho is still Jericho. It's not like, you know, Jericho's Ric Flair, and you're like, how did Yuta lose this match? It makes a lot of sense. I think Yuta looked awesome. I think he's just becoming more and more of a star. I really hope Jericho does not beat Mox because I don't even hate Jericho. I just don't have any interest in him being champion. I'm very curious to see what he looks like when he walks out as the Lionheart.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what is his gear going to be? What is his hairstyle going to be? Give him credit. When he goes into stuff like this, he puts a ton of thought into it. He puts thought into stuff that no one else will ever notice or pay attention to. I mean, that's the one thing you can't knock on the guy. He actually, you know, there's things he mentions. And he's like, I did this, and it's because of this. And you're like, no one ever would pick this up, but he does it. So I'm just so curious. What's it going to be? That all being said, I really wanted William Regal to walk down at the end and be the reason Jericho let go of the hold. I knew it had to be Mox. Like, I get the logic. I'm not faulting them. It's better wrestling the way they did it. But everything in me wanted it to be Regal to walk down and just smack the shit out of Jericho and have him be the reason. Because I just think that would have been a lot of fun.
I think we'll get that at some point. I don't know if that's here, but we got to have a Jericho Regal like proper standoff at some point, right? He's so good on commentary too. We should talk about that real fast. Him saying he's just so good at putting over opponents, and part of it is the gimmick that he walked into, right? Like, if the idea is we're the best in the world, and that means our opponents do smart things and we overcome them, that's such a great thing to do on commentary. So when he says things like, I know Jericho has an answer for everything that gets thrown out there, and in some ways has more answers than what I've been able to provide, it's a great way to put over a heel. Like, it's so good, but because the whole idea is this like iron sharpens iron situation, it just fits so naturally. But God, he's just been such 100% value since coming over, Regal. Like, never taking the spotlight away from the story ever, but adding so much to the story. Like, it's never about him, but he just fills in all of these different layers. Like, I love it. I love seeing him on AEW every week. It's so good.
Think about when Yuta had his match against Garcia at Ring of Honor, Death Before Dishonor. The little details of, like, we told Yuta he can't use a rope break, and Yuta never used a rope break, and it added something. Like, you think more of the character of Yuta now. You're like, oh shit, this guy didn't. Truthfully, what's sad is Jericho can be just as insightful, but he yells too much for you to care. Like, I almost want Regal to go to Jericho and be like, you actually do say a lot of really smart things on commentary. Just stop yelling.
Literally.
Because Regal says brilliant stuff and he's better, but like part of it too is he doesn't yell at you.
Yeah.
So you're like, I'm actually going to listen to what you're saying.
At 11 o'clock on a Friday. or whatever.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, all I know is it should be fun at Quake by the Lake. We'll get to see the Lionheart. I'm guessing he's gonna do the, maybe the pom pom at the top of his head, like the little ponytail. Maybe he'll have some, not streamers, but maybe he'll have his biceps. The strings around the biceps. He's got to wear long spandex pants with some sort of weird stripe design on it, right? I don't think he had fringe or anything like that. Although I know he had a jacket back in the day as the Lionheart.
He had a vest.
The vest that it didn't have fringe on it. I think at 1.2 he had a fringy
jacket.
Okay,
no, he did have a jacket too that had fringe. You're right, and he had a vest too. He had both.
Could be either one.
Yeah.
Could be either one. But it should be a lot of fun. And this episode of Dynamite was a lot of fun tonight. So we'll see what happens. But what I know, guys, is we've got a few news and notes before we wrap things up here tonight. Looks like the injury bug has hit 2 more members of the AEW roster. Uncle Dax Harwood sent out a tweet that said, the day after Death Before Dishonor, there was a photo, swollen eye, stiff neck, fucked up shoulder, but you keep going, all for the love of the game. Well, apparently, according to the Wrestler Observer newsletter, the fucked up shoulder is a torn labrum. That apparently is the same injury that Cole's been working through for a few months. No word yet on the plans, but it sounds like he doesn't expect to take too much time off. So we'll see what happens there. There was also another report from PWI or the PW Insider, and they said that Dante Martin suffered a knee injury while wrestling Sammy Guevara on July 27th Dynamite. They're not sure of the exact diagnosis, but Martin was favoring his right leg during the match and was seen on crutches backstage afterwards. So let's hope it's not too bad, because they need these guys to wrestle.
Yeah. Dax is a tough one.
That's a big one. Also, we were talking about Big Stoke before. If you guys haven't seen, there was a video that was going around on Twitter. Big Stoke on July 26th said, I'd respect Wheeler Yuta a little more if he won every pure title defense by slap boxing, the purest technique known to man. And Yuta caught that because he went to collect for an impromptu pure championship title fight using slapbox style. William Regal and Paul Turner made sure it was official, and the that could be seen on Stokes' Twitter.
I am dying to know if that counts as a title defense. Like they should count that as a title defense.
Should be, if he did put his title on the line.
I would say a squash, because it was really just Stoke getting hit upside the head once. A lot of Stokely getting hit upside the head in his short tenure in AEW so far.
He's got a hittable head, I guess.
I guess so. I felt like Chris Statlander should face Wheeler now, and they should have an intergender slapbox match.
Guys, the long-awaited Fight Forever console game from AEW is getting closer to seeing the light of day. They did put out a little video today saying that THQ was the publisher behind the game, or the developers, and it looks like it's available. I mean, this all broke earlier in the day, but tonight they mentioned on TV it is available for pre-order or wish listing or whatever it is on each different system. I think it's $60. There's a release date in some places listed as 12/31/2022, but it's New Year's Eve and a Saturday, so that is just likely a placeholder. But I'm going to be very interested in this game. I like wrestling games. I fell off the 2K bandwagon when I really stopped watching the product, and also those games really went downhill with all the bugs and the glitches. So this will be fun. And if it's anything like what we've seen, and they're going to have, I think they're going to have another event coming up where they're going to show, I think, maybe some gameplay footage. But it's very interesting. It says it combines nostalgic arcade wrestling feel with innovative all-elite wrestling finishers and offensive moves. Talent roster combines biggest legends to enter the ring, plus brand new high-flying AEW stars. single, tag team, 3-way, 4-way, ladder, casino battle royals, falls count anywhere, unsanctioned lights out matches, exploding barbed wire death matches, and online co-op multiplayer matches. And tag team matches feature a sequence of team maneuvers performed with simple commands. So sounds like it could be a fun game. I'm interested. I always like wrestling games, so we'll see what happens. Schlong, is that something that you're into?
I love wrestling games. I have 2K. It has mini games, which is, I'm not criticizing them because it's weird. You don't typically see them even in like the old school arcade games. I don't remember mini games, but I'm not going to judge anything by that because you have no idea of their placement.
Oh, well, about time you don't judge something.
Yeah, seriously. But if it's in the middle of a match, it could really hurt the game. But if it's like a fun little side thing, because who cares?
Ryan
I'm glad
likes
they didn't.
Fun little side pieces is what I'm hearing from this.
I'm glad they didn't go the 2K route because that game already exists. You have to do something different. So I'm fairly excited for it, but I'm tempering my excitement until I see one of those extended previews where they let people play it.
Yeah, I think that's coming up. Excuse me. I think that's coming up in a few weeks later this month. And also to note, to close the loop on this, it looks like this is going to be on all the major gaming platforms: Switch, PlayStations, Xboxes, all that kind of stuff. So pre-order it, do whatever you got to do. Interesting recent AEW trademark filing for All Elite Women is leading to some speculation that there may be some new show that will be created for women on the roster. So who knows? Kate, any interest there?
In the women's division all of a sudden, which makes me very happy. I'm hoping it is a symptom of competition. But I'm intrigued for sure about what that's going to be. If that's going to be a reality show, if it's going to be a pay-per-view, who knows what that's going to look like. But I'm interested in them getting highlighted in a better way. I just hope that they do it right, whatever that is going to mean.
Now, Kate, what if it's like a diva style show, Total Divas?
I mean, that's never my favorite thing in the world, but I much as I hate to admit it about the Bella Twins, I know people who got into wrestling or were asking me questions about wrestling because of that show. It is a vehicle that works. I just don't want it to be the only thing that is a vehicle there. I can't imagine it would be just based on the women that were there, but I wouldn't be opposed. There's other things I'd rather see it be ahead of it. But I mean, those shows do remarkably well somehow. So Ms. and Mrs. does super well, and it's so dumb. So it's not content that's my favorite, but it's a healthy business decision. So we'll see.
It'll be, excuse me, it'll be interesting to see either way what that show or content might be, because I was thinking through it. If it's supposed to be some sort of wrestling show, I don't know where they're going to try to put it on television. So you'd think maybe it has to be, I have no idea why you're doing this again, Kate, by the way, with your helmet.
I'm just saying that I think that the AEW women's division is underrated and that.
Oh, okay. Okay. We really do need to get you a cardboard box to wear next week.
I have one. It's just not readily available to me. So for now,
you'll work on it. If there's anything I know about you, Kate,
I'm
you
committed
take
to
those
the bit.
projects very seriously. You made a paper belt once.
I sure did. And I never lost it.
Well,
Suck
it's debatable
it, the
from what I
committee.
hear. Guys, the last piece of news was a big one that broke earlier. And it had to do with AEW expanding their talent relations team and defining their roles. So, of course, everybody knows about what's been going on about communication issues behind the scenes at AEW, and that Jonathan Gresham reportedly asked to be released from his contract because of not being informed of booking and creative decisions. There's also been criticism that Tony Khan has been trying to do a lot on his own, and it's negatively impacted, the product in some ways. And of course, changes over at the competition have resulted in a lot of buzz for the competition. So AEW makes an announcement today that they're expanding their own talent relations team and providing job descriptions for the existing players as part of their roster. So basically, they announced that there's an expansion of AEW's talent relations team with the promotions of key staff members, including Sanjay Dutt, QT Marshall, Pat Buck, and Tony Schiavone. Schiavone. My apologies. In addition, Madison Rayne will be joining AEW as a coach in the women's division. So they're hoping that this will strengthen the infrastructure required to facilitate the development, health, and safety of the outstanding roster. And the following promotions and additions are effective immediately. So Sanjay Dutt has been promoted to Vice President of Production and Creative Coordination. It says in that role, he will coordinate communication of AEW storylines, liaise between post-production and key staff to maintain content workflow, produce ancillary content, and mentor new producers. He joined in 2021, bringing more than 20 years of experience of professional wrestling, both in-ring and as a producer, and he continues to serve on screen as a manager to Satnam Singh and Jay Lethal. QT Marshall has been promoted to Vice President of Show and Creative Coordination. He will help manage the show elements, including planning programs and storylines, character development, and overseeing extras and live event logistics coordination. He is an AEW original with more than 20 years experience and continues to wrestle as leader of the factory. Pat Buck has been promoted to Vice President of Talent Development. He will liaise with talent and production, oversee all coaches, provide input on matches and promos, and lead the talent relations team. He has nearly 2 decades of experience serving wrestling promotions as talent trainer, producer, and promoter. Schiavone has been promoted to senior producer and special advisor to talent. He will work directly with talent as part of the talent relations team, and he is one of AEW's most tenured members with nearly 40 years of experience. Madison Rayne is joining AEW as the coach in the women's division and kicks off her new role in her hometown of Columbus, Ohio. It does go on to say she competed in numerous professional wrestling promotions where she has held multiple championship titles, including including being a 5-time women's world champion. She has more than 15 years of experience in professional wrestling and is also a proud mom to a daughter. Lastly, Christopher Daniels, an AEW original who brings more than 30 years of experience, will continue to serve as manager of talent relations. The talent relations team will remain in close contact with the legal and talent resources team, led by Margaret Stalvey, Chris Peck, and Mega Parek, who helped to support the physical and mental health, safety, and security of the talent. AEW is also said to be committed to supporting talent beyond the ring and offers access to world-class physicians, trainers, and mental health clinicians. That is pretty much the press release. But guys, I think this is a good move, right? Because from the outside, there really has been no knowledge of how things work in AEW. It's been a lot of speculation and sort of what you read from the dirt sheets. And of course, if you're not reading a sort of respected, sheet, I don't know what you call it, a resource, right?
Outlet, yeah, whatever.
If you're not looking at something that's respectable and that does good work, you don't really know what's going on. I think this is good for the outsider to kind of see like, oh, there is some structure. Like there are people who are doing things other than Tony Khan. So I think this is a good move for everybody on the outside, but also very clear on the inside who's responsible for what. And I got to be honest, some of the names they have on here, I know pretty much every name. The only one I really don't know is Madison Rayne. I know everybody else. I know Pat Buck from being here in New Jersey and just knowing what he's done in other places. I know Shivani and QT Marshall and Sanjay Dutt. But like, it's really good. I'm sorry, Schiavone.
Thank you.
I sorry. But it's really good to now have a way to be able to say to people, this person is fully in charge of this and sort of set the boundaries. So I think this is a good move. And of course, with the negative news about, being lack of communication, I think this is sort of what you have to do. I think it's a good move.
Yeah, I hope that it flows internally better than we've seen. Like, I think those promotions all make sense if they get implemented so that all the tasks of running a wrestling company are covered by these positions and the supplementary ones. I think that's very good. But you're right. Like, it was kind of cool to see the insight of what gets done. Like, I knew Sanjay was doing stuff backstage. We've heard a lot of doing stuff backstage, but what does that mean? So that's cool. And then yeah, I don't know if you noticed, but like I have not loved everything that's happened with the AEW women's division. So I think some enhancements there is actually a good thing. I know that'll come as a surprise to listeners of the show, but I surprisingly have not been fully satisfied with what was going on there. So I think Madison's great. She has a stellar reputation and has had a lot of in-ring success. And you know, they had kind of also said, I think Tony Khan had followed up and said, like, that doesn't mean she won't be working in the ring too, but they'll be a focus, which is really good. So I think that's awesome. The more development in that division, the better.
You know, if anything, I just hope there's still a window open to have Maria Kanellis somehow help out in Ring of Honor or AEW. I think she's just, we've said it numerous times, we have to sound like a broken record with this, but that Ring of Honor women's division before they shut it down and sold to Tony Khan was really starting to put together something special. And Maria Kanellis is, by all accounts, said to be like 99% responsible for everything that was happening with that division.
And I think her mind is still needed. I think the coaching is going to be more of an in-ring aspect. And, and Maria from a booking standpoint, and for ROH and not AEW, I think is just a good call.
Yeah. No, I mean, I like, you know, I like what they're saying about Madison Rayne. I just hope that that's not as much as they do, right? I hope they continue to push to get help for that women's division. And I think Maria Kanellis, again, Ring of Honor or AEW, probably more so Ring of Honor. I think she needs to be involved in some way with either one of these companies. I just hope the reports were that they had discussions, but nothing concrete, and sort of like windows and doors were open, but nothing had happened. So we'll see. But Schlong, is this a good move for you, or do you just see this as sort of like, you know, putting lipstick on a pig?
Just awful. Why would you hire more women?
I knew it.
Yeah. Listen, the moves like Sanjay, Pat Buck, that stuff, that is more, I think, of an appearance thing of like, hey, these, you know, putting it out there and letting people know there is a structure. Though I'm not going to speak that they're not actually going to get more responsibilities in house, which they need. They need to spread it out. The bigger your company is, the more there's a reason big companies have layers. As annoying as it is, it's because you need them. Madison Rayne's just a smart decision. You need another woman's voice in the company, which is important, a coach, which is important, TV experience, which is huge, because truthfully, the number is growing, but there's not a lot of, we'll say 35 plus women who have both good wrestling and good TV experience. You can get one or the other, but you're not getting a lot of both, and that's because of the way WWE forced women to wrestle for so many years. In the next 10 years, you'll have a ton of them, and it'll be great. But right now, you grab the ones you need to grab, and Madison Rayne is one you need to grab. And so I think it was a really smart choice. I'm just, like you said, I'm hoping it's not the last choice, and I don't think it will be. I think I think ROH is clearly coming soon, like the full TV, because they had the Trust Busters on AEW Dark. They're doing a couple things where you're like, yeah, you're not doing this if you don't think you have a TV deal or something coming soon, because why waste the time? So I think Maria is a better fit for ROH only because I think Tony will be a little less hands-on there. I think that would work better to have someone running stuff when Tony's not the only person. But in AEW, I think he's still gonna have a hard time letting go fully.
Sure. And that's sometimes a problem, right? With leadership, we've seen it clearly at the competition. You've had somebody at the top who won't let go of control, and you know they're forced to
for 7 hours of programming a week, and then
yeah. and then they get forced to resign in this
Well, yeah, that had some
disgrace.
other issues, but I think that is important though, that the more hours you add on, the more you're stretching your creative brain, and that gets tough. Like you can't, because you don't want to repeat too much. You don't want to have things so Tony started with just 2 hours of TV, and then I'm not going to count Dark and Elevation because there's not really any stories there, and he doesn't do a lot there. But then you throw in, okay, then he got an hour of Rampage, okay, and now he's adding in all these specials. And now you're adding in ROH. Like his mind, like, so dude, at some point you're going to be an overload. It's actually, I sent Kate a text when Triple H was taking control of WWE. I said, how long until he burns out? Because they have so much TV. You have to have other people. You could still be head of creative, but you have to be willing to let people actually run the day-to-day of it, or you're going to just burn out. Your creative brain can't spread over that much wrestling.
Yeah, I mean, but even when you look at things, even when you just look at things from a standard business sense, right? Not even like wrestling, could be anything. Any company, I think the most successful leadership are the people who are able to put, smart people around them who can gather all the information and then disseminate it to the person who's at the top. And the person at the top really doesn't have to make all the decisions, but you make enough of the decisions that are going to have the bigger impact. You just don't have to take in as much of the other information because you've got the people who are able to filter it, and give you the best pieces. So I think if they can do the same thing here, they're going to put themselves in a much better position. And you're right, Ryan. They're starting to get more and more TV. So you're going to stretch yourself thinner and thinner and thinner. And then eventually, you run the risk of sort of blowing out, and blowing up. So,
yep.
This is a good move, if you ask me, from a business sense and an organization sense. And who knows, maybe at some point they'll be, expanding in other ways. So we'll see. But that's it for the news and notes. That was the big one today. And I think that's it, unless you guys have anything else that I missed. Slapboxing was the big one.
Obviously.
So we're going to wrap it up here. But first, we're going to let you guys know what we do when we're not here. Well, not me, but everybody else. Kate, why don't you lead off?
Okay. Every Tuesday I do the NXT post show. That product still fucking blows, so that's kind of fun. On Fightful YouTube, doing Sour Grabs. Wednesdays, I'm here as often as I can be. And Fridays, I'm doing the AEW Rampage and SmackDown post show. Also on the Know Your News Network with Alex Pulaski, doing Get the Flick Out of Here, where we review bad, fun, weird, funny, quirky, whatever the fuck, movies and television. And we did The Room this past recording, and it comes out tomorrow. So that was real fun and really stupid. I'd never seen it before, so that's good. But yeah. And then you can follow me at Miss Kate Fabe on Twitter, where I'm getting yelled at by Disco Inferno for some reason.
Because Disco Inferno. Burn, baby, burn.
Burn, baby, burn.
All right. That's a lot of stuff. Ryan, hope you can bat second. What do you got going on? Hope you got a lot of stuff.
All right, here they all are. On Mondays and Tuesdays, I live tweet AEW Dark and Elevation from the Mark Order Pod. And the rest of the week, I'll tweet from the Mark Order Pod. There you go. So Schlong and good night.
Boom.
Nailed it.
I got nothing besides this. This is really all I do. So just make sure you continue to tune in every Wednesday night at 10:15 p.m. I can tell you we're going to do a bonus show. It's going to be an all money edition Saturday night after Battle of the Belts, where me and Mrs. Money will talk about what happened at Battle of the Belts. Maybe we'll touch on Friday Night Rampage, because I don't know if you know this, guys. There's a tag match between Swerve and Our Glory versus Josh Woods and Tony Nese. So we'll probably touch on Rampage, but make sure you tune in. We'll be following Battle of the Belts Saturday night. I don't remember what time Battle of the Belts is. Sorry, I have it in front of me now. Battle of the Belts, and we actually we ran through the card here again. We're going to get Wardlow versus Jay Lethal for the TNT Championship. You're going to get Jamie Hayter versus Thunder Rosa for the Women's Championship. And then you're going to get Claudio Castagnoli versus Takeshita for the Ring of Honor World Championship. That's Saturday, 8 p.m. Eastern. So we will go on at 9:15 Eastern for a bonus show, maybe an hour or so. So make sure you tune in for that Saturday night. Make sure that you're following us on our socials at Mark Order Pod, like Schlong said, especially on Twitter, where he is live tweeting and engaging in conversations with people who aren't dicks. So as long as you're not a dick, he will talk with you. But you can find all of our other socials through the link tree on our profiles. And like I said before, if you hit the button to request free stickers, we'll send you out some of these free Mark Order Podcast stickers. Just give us your name, your full mailing address, and the country you live in, so we're sure we're sending it to the right place. And I will send those out to you as soon as I can. Thanks everybody for watching along with us tonight. The Kyle K. Sparks, the Asian Joes, Gordon Posts, Mark Quills. I know I'm leaving a ton of people out because I'm not going back to Jesse Ozogs, King of Hueco Mundo. I see it in there too. So thank you everybody who's watching along. We appreciate it. If you're listening in podcast form, we definitely appreciate you too. Just make sure wherever you're listening, it helps us out if you subscribe, rate, review, all those types of things will definitely help us out. If you've never watched us in video format, you should definitely give it a try. Some of the visual gags, like Kate putting a desktop organizer cage on her head instead of a cardboard box, doesn't
the closest thing I had.
Well, it doesn't always play in podcast form, but if you'd like to see Kate attempt that tonight, or episode Sexy 69 where the captain joined us, or other random things like Matt popping in the archives, an episode where Matt pops in a little toasted with his shirt off.
Spicy margarita, Matt. Our
Spicy
favorite
Marg
pie.
Matt, that's right. You can certainly go back to YouTube where all of our content and watch any of those videos. Other than that, we're working on some additional stuff. I'm only mentioning it because somebody asked on Twitter, hey, are we ever going to get t-shirts? Yes, you're going to get t-shirts. I have to find some time to finish the designs. They're coming, I promise you, and I'll make this promise at the very least. You'll be able to have them to buy as Christmas gifts at the very least.
Black Friday specials.
There
Didn't
you go.
say which Christmas.
Well, this year. I just said this year. Come on. So we're working on some stuff. Stay tuned. We will obviously keep you guys posted, and we thank you for your support. So make sure next week you tune in to see these guys. I'm not here next week, so this is like when Daddy's away, the kids get to take over. It's going to be wild. Join Kate and Ryan, and who knows if they're going to have a special guest or anything like that next week. But they will be back next week at 10:15 p.m. on Wednesday following Dynamite's Quake by the Lake. I just hope I get to see that show. And I'll be back the following week. So, guys, I'll miss you next week. But have a good show. Don't wreck the place while I'm not here. I'll leave $20 on the table. You can get a pizza, but you can't get wings. I'm not going to give you enough to get pizza and wings. Just pizza, okay?
But
what
I
are we
want
gonna
wings.
do without you being
No.
home?
Listen, just don't start any fires. Don't get hurt. $20 for pizza. Make sure you tip the delivery guy, and I'll be back to check on you in 2 weeks.
I want my wings.
Well, I'm sorry. Thanks everybody for listening tonight. We'll be back. They'll be back next week, and I'll see you in a couple weeks. Love y'all. Talk to you. Bye.
This concludes the Mark Order podcast. We now return you to your regularly scheduled programming. Join the Mark Order.